Good evening and welcome to the August 18th meeting of the East Point City Council. Madam City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Shropshire. Present. Councilmember Freely. Councilmember Atkins.
Present.
Councilmember Ziegler.
Present.
Councilmember Cummings.
Present.
Councilmember Mitchell.
Present.
Councilmember Butler. Here. Councilmember Martin Rogers. Mayor Holiday Ingram, we have a quorum.
Tonight we'll stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge to the flag. Our Sergeant at Arms this evening is Captain Robinson. In a motion to adopt the agenda. Is there a second? Yeah, be a little bit louder, because they got to hear you over there. The clerk has to hear you. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is approval of council meeting minutes
Madam Mayor,
from July 14th work session. Councilmember Shropshire.
I make a motion that we approve the council work session meeting on July 14th.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve the meeting minutes from the July 14th work session. Any discussion on that motion?
I have discussion.
Councilmember Atkins.
Yes. Madam Mayor, if this is the same set that we received over the weekend, it seemed that all of the items said moved, and I know that there were items that we had discussed. Yes. So I don't know if anyone else had that in theirs, but it seemed like that was the notation beside each of the agenda items. So I don't know if I received the wrong minutes. Yeah, you can see here. All of these just say moved, moved, moved. All of them just say moved. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Madam Mayor, I think what it is, because there was an action taken for that meeting.
Right, I'm trying to figure out what action item was taken. So,
It was the partnership with the city of South Fulton.
Okay.
that one we did on August the 11th. We
I don't
about
think
the wrong
that-
work session. Madam City Clerk?
Yeah, this is another sheet right here. All of them say moved.
Oh, I can't remember either.
Here's something else.
There was action taken on one by Councilmember Atkins and then Councilmember Atkins and then
Yes.
Councilmember Ziegler and Councilmember Butler.
Yes, thank you. I believe that the action that was taken was to approve the city manager to make decisions on Wednesday wind down, not to exceed $25,000 within reason.
That's correct. It's number 27 on the minutes. Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
But then, like, all the
Council-
other items there don't have the discussion pieces. It just says that it was moved.
It actually was the authority to approve invoices over $25,000 within reason.
It says related to council events, correct.
For Butler?
Yes, Madam Mayor. There's one other thing, too, on the agenda. It was my understanding that we placed on the agenda for vote whether or not we were going to put the financial audit on the internet. Is that on the consent part? Yes, ma'am, I don't see it on the agenda.
Minutes, and then if there's a desire to amend the agenda, that can be done. So it was moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the July 14th work session. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up are the minutes from the August 4th regular meeting of City Council.
Madam Mayor,
No, ma'am, I'm not on.
Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Shropshire.
Madam Mayor, make a motion that we approve the regular council meeting minutes from August the 4th.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is approval of the minutes from the August 14th special call meeting of the East Point City Council. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We have no public hearings tonight. Is there a desire to amend the agenda? That item, we did discuss that at the work session, but it did slip through the cracks. So it was supposed to be on the agenda. Is there a motion? We discussed it and putting it on the Butler.
Yes, ma'am, I make the motion that we open up the agenda to be amended.
You can just make a motion to amend the agenda to add the discussion on the forensic audit as the first agenda item.
So moved.
There's a second? Second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries, so that will be right before item number, which is reflected as 26. Madam City Clerk, if you can update the agenda. It's going to be before 26. Discussion on a forensic audit. All right, public comments. Do we have any public comments this evening?
We have 8 public comments this evening.
Chapter 2, Section 2-2002BB, Rule 28. The public may speak during the public comment section of the agenda. Speakers must complete a comment form prior to the start of the meeting. Subject may include any subject of choice. There will be a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. Speakers that have signed up to speak may give all or part of their time, up to 3 minutes, to another speaker for a total of 6 minutes of speaking time. Speakers may address the council only once during this time of the agenda. Speakers must identify themselves and their address prior to speaking. Questions from the speakers may not be addressed during the public speaking section of the agenda. East Point residents will have priority over other speakers. There will be a total of not more than 60 minutes for the public speaking section of the agenda. Speakers may only address the presiding officer. Speakers shall observe all rules of decorum. No debate, disrespect, or obscenity shall be tolerated. The presiding officer shall rule any such individual out of order that fails to comply with the foregoing. Madam City Clerk, you may call the first speaker.
Up first, we have Dr. William Bryant.
Good afternoon. My name is William H. Bryant. I represent the Meadowlark Homeowners Association, and I'm sort of disturbed tonight based on something I got over my phone on my way to, down to, I think we was going down to Griffin, Georgia to play for something. But anyway, I was sort of disturbed, and I would just like to say this, as a professional man, as a professional teacher once, and as a principal of a school once. You know, I see it here, and I can say it and read some of this, because I'm very upset about this. And you have a pledge called Civility Pledge, and that just hit it on the head. I'm just going to read probably a line. The way we govern ourselves is often as important as the position we take. Our collective decision will be better when different views have had the opportunity to be fully vetted and considered. All people have the right to be treated with respect. All people have the right to be treated with respect. That's everybody, regardless who you are, regardless where you live. You should respect people. That's all I have to say. Respect people, especially when you are an elected official. Thank you so much.
Up next, we have Ms. Sharon Lovett.
Mayor, City Council, good evening. Sharon Lovett, 2830 DeLoe Drive. And I'm speaking on the same thing. I received a robocall on Saturday, August the 9th at 10:03 a.m. And it was from Karen Solomon. And it had Tremaine Mitchell's voice
Point of
on it.
order, personal privilege.
Did I say something wrong?
You did, so we've already.
Councilmember Mitchell, I read the point of order rule every time.
We're not supposed to call
Hold on,
names?
no, hold on a minute. So when the point of order is called, I have to stop. And then I have to ask for the rule and the rule number. The council member provides that, there's no discussion, and then I make a decision as it relates to that. So Councilmember Butler, what is the rule and rule number? I'm sorry. Councilmember Mitchell, what is the rule number?
Hopefully, I can save a lot of people sometimes. So
Rule, Councilmember Butler.
Mitchell.
Rule and Mitchell, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Rule and rule number. Hold on a minute. Madam City Clerk, can you go down and pull up the rule?
You can only address the chair.
Count-
You can only address the chair.
Councilmember Mitchell. Madam City Clerk, please pull up
Okay.
the point of order rule so that I can read it, so that people can be clear that I am not making things up.
I can read it also if you like.
I'm the presiding officer. I want it on the screen so that everybody can see it as I'm reading it.
For sure.
I can pull it up and read it as well. In fact, on my computer.
For sure. Can I save it some time? It's not,
No, Councilmember Mitchell,
It's
there's
not-
no discussion. There's nothing.
okay.
You call for a point of order,
Okay.
and we're going to the rule. So for everybody out here, if you want to get to our rules, you go to eastpointcity.com, go to the, Google and do East Point Muni Code. That's not it. Point of order rule. It's further. So I'm starting with the point of order rule.
Sorry.
You can just go back up to the table of contents, and it'll show you which rule it is.
Sorry.
Just scroll up. Madam City Clerk, click back, please.
What'd you say?
Click back.
Click that.
Go up. 2-2, I'm sorry, go down 2-2002. There's a table of contents at the beginning. I forget the rule number. Point of order is
13.
rule number 13. So go to rule number 13.
628.
Just scroll down. Just scroll down.
Is this in there? 628, right?
Point of order. Point of order will take precedent over all other business The chair must recognize the council member calling a point of order. Once recognized, the council member may only quote the rule number and the rule. No discussion, explanation, or debate is allowed during a point of order. The chair will recognize the point of order and then rule as to the point of order. The council member calling for a point of order may appeal the ruling of the chair. The chair will then call for a vote to uphold the decision. So as I stated, per the point of order rule, Rule 13, the council member calling a point of order, once recognized, may only quote the rule number and the rule. Councilmember Mitchell, what is the rule number and the rule?
Sure, I can tell she can't wait to get this off, right?
Councilmember
Clearly,
Mitchell.
so section 2-2-002, Rule 28, speaker may
So
only.
Councilmember Mitchell, that's all you can say. it's on the screen. That's why I put it here for everyone
Okay,
to
so
see.
the section
Rule
in
20
particular, speaker may only
Count-
address the presiding officer.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Yes.
rule and rule number. Go to Rule 28, please.
Go ahead.
Public comment. The public may speak during the public comment section of the agenda. Speakers must complete a comment form prior to the start of the meeting. Subject may include any subject of choice. There will be a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. Speakers that have signed up to speak may give all or part of their time up to 3 minutes to another speaker for a total of 6 minutes of speaking time. Speakers may address the council only once during this time of the agenda. Speakers must identify themselves and their address prior to speaking. Questions from the speakers may not be addressed during the public speaking section of the agenda. East Point residents will have priority over other speakers. There will be a total of not more than 60 minutes for the public speaking section of the agenda. Speakers may only address the presiding officer. Speakers shall observe all rules of decorum. No debate, disrespect, or obscenity shall be tolerated. The presiding officer shall rule any such individual out of order that fails to comply with the foregoing. The speaker was in the very onset of the comments. The speaker mentioned a council member's name. When it says the speakers may only address the presiding officer, don't know that that means that it says any subject of choice. So any subject of choice means people have freedom of speech and they can discuss subjects of choice. The comments were being made and she was speaking at the time, and so at this point, I don't find that there's a violation of Rule 28. Go back up to Rule 13, please.
That's insane.
Chair will recognize and then rule as to the point of order. I just ruled. The council member calling for a point of order may appeal the ruling of the chair. The chair will then call for a vote to uphold the decision.
So challenge the ruling of the chair.
So I'm going to consider that appealing the ruling of the chair. I will then call for a vote on upholding decision of the chair. All those in favor? The ruling of the chair was that there was no violation of the public comment rule because it says they can discuss any subject of choice, and that the comments being directed to the presiding officer, she was speaking and didn't point to or call out any council member other than stating in a subject of choice. So all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Roll call.
Councilmember Shropshire, Councilmember Freely,
Call
Councilmember
discussion.
Atkins.
You have to appoint,
I'm
you have to address.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Councilmember Atkins.
Doing a roll call vote, and she can't hear if other people are talking. Can you please start over?
Yes, Councilmember,
Uphold this motion is to uphold the decision of the chair. Go ahead, Madam City Clerk, if
okay.
you can start over, and everybody make sure you speak in your mind.
yep, Councilmember Shropshire. Councilmember Freely.
Aye.
Councilmember Atkins. Councilmember Ziegler.
No.
Councilmember Cummings. No. Councilmember Mitchell.
No.
Councilmember Butler.
Aye.
Councilmember Martin Rogers. The motion passed.
So the decision has been upheld. Did you stop the clock while she was speaking? How many
I
minutes
did.
does she have
15
left?
seconds had passed by, so she's at 2 minutes and 45 seconds. If
All
you-
right, Ms. Continue with your public comment.
Sorry. Okay. Well, the robocall was in reference to the audit report, which we understood, and I was at the last meeting, and it stated where there wasn't any accountability or transparency, and profanity was used, but I know they have AI now. I don't know who it was, but they also talked about somebody else going on a trip on taxpayers' money. But in the budget robocall, I did notice on Facebook that something was put out there for that, but everybody in East Point, all of the residents are not on Facebook. I'm 71 and I'm still on Facebook and TikTok too, so I can see it, but everybody else can't. So I think whoever did it need to give a public apology if that wasn't a certain person that they pertain to be. So, but I was thinking also, who would stoop to that low level to falsify anybody? But I don't know, this world is crazy right now, so I don't know. And what would anybody have to gain from doing this? Because it doesn't make sense to get sympathy or political gain. And I really think it's unacceptable and unethical that it was done, period. So I just want whatever you all do to make it make sense. You all got to work together, and it doesn't make sense, and I'm sick and tired of, you see these other communities on the news arguing and fussing. You have to compromise and come together. And last but not least, every time I come up here, I talk about code enforcement. They are not doing their job, and if somebody need me to ride with them, I would be more than happy to ride with them. Thank you.
Up next, we have Dr. Colbert Lovett.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and Council. I have 3 quick items I'd like to touch on this evening in this 3 minutes. Number 1, I want to thank you, each of you and collectively, the council for paving Ben Hill Road and putting the sidewalks in. And that someone I heard say the other day, well, you know, the local option sales tax, I guess, the splash or the splosh or whatever you call it, paid for the paving. Yeah, but the city still had to cooperate. The council had to cooperate with the county to get it done. I remember going to some meetings that were held locally a few years back, and our city engineering department, I presume, and contracting department had to let the contracts to make sure it got done. So kudos to all of you and to our professional staff for getting it done. Glad to see that. It shows that we can accomplish good things when we work together. Number 2, as many of you know, I serve as a volunteer on the Local Food Ecosystem Commission. And I feel it's my duty as a volunteer on that board to inform you officially that we have not met of late. And so the Local Food Ecosystem Commission as of now is not meeting due to a lack of a quorum in for the last several months. It's a good program, it's a great program, and I hope that the city will find it within its means to jumpstart it and get it going again, because a lot of good can be accomplished for the citizens. I think we were successful in getting some good things done before the funding ran out, and so I hope you will give some attention to getting that going again. Last but not least, I want to talk about, in the minute that I have left, personal and community standards of conduct. It's incumbent upon each of us, as speakers before me have pointed out, to abide by that civility commitment that you have here. But I think it's more than just a matter of when we're in meetings. I think it carries over to our private lives as well, particularly as we interact with other citizens. How we express community, how we live with each other. Community, the discourse that we find acceptable and unacceptable. And like the speakers before me, I received information this past week that was very troubling to me when I learned that some things were being said that should not be said by anyone, to anyone, and certainly not about women who are our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, and our wives. We should not disrespect them. That's just totally unacceptable, and so I reject that, and I feel I should publicly say that to you.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Ms. Dolores Kennebrew.
I want to say hello to everybody, and this is my first time coming here in many years. But one thing, I have lived in East Point since 1978, and they just got around to fixing the pipe that was running under my yard because people's yards were falling in because the pipe had broken, the big corrugated pipe. They replaced it last October. I was very happy. But the bottom line is that that creek, that comes off 285, comes into the creek, has destroyed part of our yards because when it gets rainy, it gets very high. It causes yards to fall in, so our yards that might have been so wide are now falling in. Not only that, the fences are falling in, and they said we can't fix it. I think they can, and I think they should fix that because we're losing our property, and besides that, the mosquitoes are so bad because of that creek. That water is running from 285 all the way underneath our properties into the creek, which causes mosquito beds, which causes us to not be able to use our yards, and also causes us to lose our yards because of the water. When they fixed it last October, yeah, they should have put rocks, but they did not seal the rocks with wire to keep it there so it falls in. Mr. Eric, I can't call his name right now, he came in and personally put on his boots and to move some of those rocks out of that creek because it starts to back up. And when it backs up, the water slows down, the mosquitoes are there, so you can't enjoy your backyard at all, because they say they can't clean it. I think they can clean up that creek. 2 doors down, it's covered over. But then the rest of it is open, and we are left with mosquitoes, not enjoying the yard, and losing yard. So I think we need to address that also. We have a barrier. We're right 1 block off 285, okay? There's a lot of noise. We had a concession with the airport 40 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, but we still get a lot of noise from 285. It's only 1 block away, and I would like that addressed. We should get a barrier. We've been asking for it, and they told me they're not going to give it to you. I said, yeah, they will. You just have to keep asking. Okay, so I think we need to find the money somewhere to put up a barrier behind 285. They finally, after many years, fixed the holes where they had dropped into the ground, big holes because of that when they moved that big, I don't know what you call it, the water was coming through, it had been broken up and rusted for years before they finally fixed it. So they now need to come in and finish the job. Thank you very much.
Up next, we have Mr. Ralph Berry, and he had time given to him by Ruth Fleming, so he'll have 6 minutes.
Ralph Berry at 2502 Jefferson Terrace in Ward B. Nearly 2 weeks ago, Plant Moran, the firm that conducted our city's recent forensic audit, notified the mayor that it would make a public presentation of its findings the following Monday. 3 days later, the auditors notified the mayor that they had changed their minds and would not make the presentation. We don't know much about what happened over those 3 days. We know that someone, either a council member or someone privy to council communications, made contact with the auditors, either directly or indirectly, and questioned the auditor's authorization to investigate an alleged conflict of interest, one involving the utility bill at a council member's address. We don't know who raised the question or in what spirit it was raised, but we do know that it prompted the auditors to wonder, and here I'm quoting from their email, if the intent/objective of the meeting Monday is to criticize Plant Moran publicly for our work. It was to stay focused on their audit's recommendations, not to get embroiled in internal conflicts, that the auditors refused to make their presentation. The citizens of East Point can trust council to oversee our city's affairs only so far as we can trust council to oversee its own affairs. This trust seems especially important where an alleged conflict of interest involves a council member. I want to read from our city's ethics policy, Section 24010. The section is entitled, Duty to Leave Meeting. If a public servant who has a conflict of interest in a matter is present as a member of a body which is to consider the matter, the public servant shall leave his or her regular seat as a member of the body and not return to it until deliberation and action on the matter is completed. This is just one of several passages in the city's Code of Ordinances that bar any public official from deliberating on any matter in which the official's own conduct is at issue. At last week's work session, council discussed the audit while the council member named in the audit was present. And when the question was raised whether the audit should be published on the city's website, this council member was invited to offer her opinion that it should not be. I take no stand on the question of whether the auditor's findings about the utility bill at this council member's residence are fair or accurate. There may well be extenuating circumstances. However, the question of whether council violated its own rules when it discussed the audit's publication while the council member named in the audit was present seems undebatable. Council messed up. So as we move forward, I respectfully ask our mayor and council to consider three things. First, in all future discussions of the forensic audit, please do not proceed until the council member named in the audit has been given the opportunity to graciously leave the meeting. Second, please contact the auditors and make sure they know that if they come to East Point and make a public presentation of their findings, no one named in the audit will participate in the questioning or discussion. And finally, if at any point, perhaps through inadvertence or simply as a result of one thing leading to another, council finds itself starting to discuss the forensic audit while the council member named in the audit is present, someone please, either mayor or council member, call a point of order and cite Rule MM, which reads, the professional and personal conduct of council members must be above reproach and avoid even the appearance of impropriety. 2 weeks ago, several of us acknowledged that the 4-year-old tale of carelessness recounted in the auditor's report had gone on too long. Since then, council's own carelessness has threatened to open up a new chapter. Please stop.
Up next, we have Ms. Deborah Hargrove.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Deborah Hargrove, and I am here on behalf of East Point Council for Concerned Citizens for Civic and Cultural Affairs. We explore what is lacking or is needed to engage residents civically or culturally to create a better sense of community in the city of East Point. Our first initiative was collaborating with the city to create a space for collective knowledge and resources for seniors under the link on the city's website, Senior Resources. I am so very grateful for that. And I am also excited to know and support Councilmember Martin Rogers' efforts to create a commission on aging that will further assist, engage, and support senior residents with specific needs. I have met seniors from Atlanta, that belong to locally supported groups that are thriving with line dancing, bus trips, exercising, and monthly gatherings. These seniors really look forward to getting together for these events. So I'm looking forward for the same thing for the seniors in East Point. Our second initiative was the East Point Tour of Gardens, held on July 19th of this year. It turned out to be a wonderful event, and people engaging from every ward. It was so nice that there have been many requests to have it again next year. And if it's my will, it's God's will, I cannot wait to do so. I would like to thank the 11 homeowners that were so gracious with hospitality to all those that embarked on the tour. Congratulations to the winners that were chosen by the participants on the tour. Third place, Miss Wendy Barnhart of Carriage Way. Second place, Mr. Dana Walker of Dorsey Avenue. First place went to Miss Jamie Milburn on Kimmeridge Drive. I would also like to thank sponsors Simon Sign Systems, Black Arts in America, The Flower Cottage, Rosie's Cafe, and Eric Coleman. This was an awesome experience for me. And lastly, I had the opportunity to view the YouTube video on Councilmember Atkins. And I can really appreciate your emphasis on community engagement and supporting the neighborhood associations. And you have some good ones up there, some of which do need reigniting and reactivating. Thank you.
Lastly, we have Mr. Eddie Lee Brewster.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. I'm Eddie Lee Brewster, 1847 Standing Road, and I'm here representing the seniors in Hillcrest community. I'm afraid some of our seniors are going to end up getting hurt or killed on Standing Road. There's a model bus stop where we live, and we requested a flashing light or either some speed bump to slow the traffic down. Also from Conley going south on Standing Road, there are no stripes, nothing in the road that divides the road. So it's very, very dangerous, especially at night. And I'm appealing to the city manager. We put this request in the last time that at least y'all could get the street striped and probably some sidewalks so our seniors can be protected. And also, I want to let you know that today is qualifying day for the city election, and the residents can have opportunity to really be heard if you are planning on voting in November to elect new leadership for our city. And I'm urging all the seniors, especially, please make sure that you are vote ready. By that, a lot of our people, they move different places, they do not change their voter registration. So I'm urging you, especially during this Trump era, you probably could be charged with illegal voting. You should vote where you live. If you live in the city of East Point, you should at least get registered in East Point. And I am not a candidate this year, but I'm urging everybody to vote for the candidate of your choice. Look at everybody who's running for all offices and vote your choice. This is time that the residents can really be heard through who we elect to lead our city. I happen to be, I've chosen a candidate. I guess I would not name the mayor, my room out of order, but I'm supporting a candidate for council and mayor, and I'm encouraging everybody else to get behind your choice of candidate and really tell them what you need and what you want and keep them accountable to the people. But please, if I can appeal to the city manager to, if you could really help us to get some traffic signage for Standing Road, because I'm afraid some of our seniors are going to be killed or hurt. Thank you.
Those are all the public comments we have this evening.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone who spoke during public comments this evening. Next up are comments from council, 2 minutes per council member. And Mayor, if I make comments as well. Any comments? Councilman Butler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to thank each and every person that got up to speak today. And if I may take a moment of personal privilege, today is my son's birthday. But many of you may know, and some of you may not know, that my son is in desperate need of a heart transplant. He's been in the hospital at Piedmont since July 3rd, and he's been suffering from heart failure for 4 years. And I'm happy to report that today, on his birthday, he received a heart and was transplanted today. And so he's much better than he was, but he's not out of the woods yet. But I just wanted to share that with you and thank everyone who's been praying for him. Me, him, and our family really do appreciate that. And God is good. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Martin, right?
I was going to allow someone else to go. Yes, thank you. I would like to say that I would like to thank the residents that came out tonight and expressed their opinions. Normally in July, I do have a birthday celebration centered around cleaning up an area of Ward D, but unfortunately this July, I was out of town on family business, but a couple of people have reached out from the community and would like to participate in a birthday effort in Ward D, so just look for that information coming soon. And also the Ward D gathering for September will take place at the end of September. Thank you so much.
Councilmember Mitchell.
All right, thank you. So firstly, I would like to congratulate Councilman Butler on your son and a successful operation. I really hate to bring this in on such great news. However, you know, we did have a couple of people did come out today to comment on an artificial AI call. Now, I know most of you guys are not new to East Point. I'm looking at the majority of these people's faces. You're looking like legacy residents. And there is no question where these robocalls have we can say this. We know who puts out robocalls. We know who have access to these lists. No one can say that I have put out such a thing. I would even say this. It would not make sense for me to use such vulgar language or things of those sorts. I'm talking to, specifically to those who may have believed this robocall. I give it to them. Technology is advancing. I'm not sure how many have watched our last work session meeting. I have contacted our police. I have contacted the FCC. They're doing an open investigation. And trust me, it's not whom you think it may be coming from. There's only so many people who can benefit from these such tactics. And I'm not running for office this year. So take that how you want. However, I firmly stand behind me saying I had absolutely nothing to do with these calls. I go testily denounce these type of things. It would make no sense for me to pay my money, spend my time to do all this and get up here and say I didn't do it. So I want everybody to just, y'all take a step back. We know there's a lot of stuff going on in the news right now. A lot of things that may want to be deflected from, or maybe things coming out in the news that may want to be deflected from. It's campaign season, y'all. This is nothing new. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Councilmember Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for everyone that came out, that's come out to the meeting this evening, and for those that are watching as well via social media outlets. Again, Josh, you and I, we've been talking on a daily basis about your son, so I'm glad that he did have a successful operation. And again, like I said, thank everyone for coming out. We do know, we hear your voices, we understand your concerns, and we are definitely working on some solutions to some of those things, to those things that have come out. So just give us an opportunity to work through it, but do know that everything is, we are definitely going to address all the concerns that you all have. I also like to invite everyone out to our Ward C community meeting. It'll be taking place next Tuesday. It's going to be on next Tuesday, the 26th. We'll be at Victory Baptist Church of Atlanta. It's in East Point. The address is 2736 Dotson Drive. And again, it's going to be at Victory Baptist Church, 2736 Dotson Drive. The meeting will be from 6:30 to 8:30. As always, we'll have representatives from Police, Fire, Parks and Rec, Public Works, Water and Sewer, and Power, to come out and address any concerns or questions that you all may have. So again, I just hope to see as many residents come out for the meeting as possible. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Councilmember Shropshire.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Atkins, then
Oh.
Councilmember Shropshire.
Okay, I'll be very quick.
Okay.
I just wanted to thank everyone for coming out this evening and for all of your comments. And just also would like to just share with you, Mr. Brewster, about the bus stop and the crosswalk on Stanton. Some seniors at Hillcrest did share that with me. I've shared that with the city manager, and I believe that Public Works is addressing that, and so I'll make sure that you guys get an update on that. I know that that situation is sort of dire because the crosswalks are all the way at one end of Stanton or the other, either at 166 or Connolly, and the seniors are always trying to traverse that busy portion of Stanton Road, and it gets very dangerous. So I know that the city manager is aware of that, and I believe that there'll be an update for the seniors on that. All right, that's all.
Councilmember Shropshire.
Thank you. And I was going to bring up the same thing, and I know they've talked about that for quite some time, especially that bus stop. I think it don't have a cover on it, and I know they brought that up several times, that they wanted a cover because they have to stand on the opposite, on the other side if they're going towards, let's say, Campbellton Road. It don't have a cover, so that's one issue. And the street was paved like many, many years ago, probably about 20 years ago, so the striping probably needs to be put back down on the street. And it goes from Sims to right there at the red light where the Stanton-Delow connector, I think, turning to get up on 166. So that's something that the city can look into for is striping the street and maybe possibly again with MARTA to see what they can do about putting a cover over there on the other side where the cemetery is, what needs to be covered for the seniors who do have to get back and forth to catch the bus. So that is my take on what the city can do to help those seniors over there, and maybe even creating a senior zone, because it is senior housing over there. So to figure out how we can create a senior zone over there to kind of make it more safe for them. Thank you.
Councilmember Freely.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Councilmember Shropshire was saying, I was contacted last year about the bus shelter. I did reach out to MARTA to see if it was possible. I believe it did not meet the criteria that they set for shelters, but I'm happy to share the contact information that I have, and maybe we can ask again. Thank you.
All right, start my 2 minutes. Any other council members? I too had reached out to MARTA, Erica Pons, regarding the bus shelter and enhancements and improvements on Hillcrest. And so I will follow up with them as that issue is a MARTA issue, but there's also, I heard, the crossing areas, like the need for that. So if those are City of East Point streets, that would be Public Works. And so we will follow up with MARTA, and I'm assuming the city manager, who's heard the comments tonight and probably has been talking with Councilmember Atkins about it as well, and the other council members too, share with us any updates on what Public Works will be doing regarding our public streets, and then following up with Marta regarding the shelter and bus routes over there. We do have an election coming up on November the 4th, but as a part of that, we voted at the special call meeting to have a referendum on the ballot to ask our residents to determine whether or not the 1% municipal option sales tax will be imposed, continue to be imposed for water, sewer, and stormwater issues. As I've said several times before, my first month in office, I think it was a severe water main break almost every week. 60 to 70% of our water, sewer, stormwater infrastructure is 60 to 70 years old. We inherited a stormwater fund that was not properly funded, and we also had over $326 million in water and sewer, stormwater infrastructure needs that there's no way we can raise the fees for that. And so we, after 5 years of lobbying at the state level, we were able to get bipartisan support to implement the municipal option sales tax. All right, next we're at presentation and announcements. And I'm gonna ask the city clerk to open this up with reading, you can pull it up as well, the qualifying notice for the upcoming municipal election. The notice is on our website. It's on the department, so there you go. There you go, that's a quicker one, yeah.
Yeah, it's the little mayoral button. All right. Okay, notice of East Point election qualifying dates and fees. Notice is hereby given that a general election will be held in the city of East Point, Georgia on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025 for the purpose of electing a mayor and 4 at-large council members. Any person desiring to be a candidate should qualify at the City of East Point Office of the City Clerk located at 2757 East Point Street, East Point, Georgia, beginning Monday, August 18th, 2025, and ending Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. The office will be closed from 1 to 2 p.m. for lunch. The qualifying fee for the position of mayor is $600 and $480 for council at large. The fee is payable to the City of East Point and must be rendered in either cash, credit card, money order, or a certified check. Residents wishing to vote in the election must be registered by October 6, 2025.
You say 2021 or 2025?
2025. Like, they must be registered to vote in this upcoming election by October 6, 2025.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our first presentation tonight is a proclamation for Sydney Alexander John Louis. So I'm going to have invite our Water Resources Director, Melissa Echeverria, up to say a few words before I read the proclamation. And I understand Sydney's family is here as well. And so if you all would like to come up, we will take a picture after the proclamation is read, and we'll give you an opportunity to say something as well.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. So as you know, I am the Water and Sewer Director, and people say, well, I just treat water, but no, East Point is home to me. I have not one but 2 special need children, and my oldest son, Joshua Harper, attended school with Sydney at Paul D. West Middle School, and he passed away last year. So the family is just awesome in terms of equality and just I don't like calling it disability. I call it a different ability. But just to say that he never complained, and it has been a loss to my son because having autism is very difficult to have social interactions and make friends, and Sydney was his friend. So again, he attended Paul D. West, and when he passed, he was a student at Tri-Cities High School. So this past July, they did a year remembrance, and so I asked if this proclamation could be done to just honor his family and continue to support them with autism, Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, and as well as cerebral palsy. Later in Sydney's life, he became wheelchair bound. amongst all of this, he was sweet, he was kind, and he never complained. So I just thank you for this opportunity and just for their family for just supporting children with different needs and abilities and never making them feel any different. So thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing Sydney's remarkable legacy with us, and it is truly an honor to issue a proclamation honoring the life and legacy of Sydney Alexander John Louis. Whereas on July 8, 2024, our community mourned the passing of Sydney Alexander John Louis, born on July 10, 2008, a brave and resilient young soul whose strength, joy, and unwavering spirit left an indelible mark on all who knew him. And whereas Sydney's journey began with extraordinary perseverance, having been born at just 24 weeks and spending the first 7 months of his life in the hospital, yet against all odds, he thrived, embodying resilience and hope from the very beginning. And whereas despite facing the challenges of Duchenne muscular dystrophy, cerebral palsy, and autism, Sydney lived with profound kindness, unshakable joy, and a heart full of love. He inspired not only his family and friends, but everyone who he encountered. And whereas Sydney attended Paul D. West Middle School and Tri-Cities High School, where he continued to shine as a source of strength, encouragement, and inspiration to his peers, educators, and community members alike. And whereas Sydney's legacy reminds us that the value of a life is not measured by limitations, but by the courage to embrace one's individuality and pursue life with dignity, optimism, and grace. And whereas his enduring spirit was best reflected in his ever reassuring words, quote, "I'm good," spoken without complaint, even in the face of life's most difficult challenges, offering comfort and inspiration to those around him. And whereas the City of East Point is committed to honoring Sydney's memory by advocating for inclusivity, accessibility, and equity for residents of all abilities, and by embracing a community vision that celebrates the strength in our diversity. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Dina Holiday Ingram, Mayor of the City of East Point, along with the City Council, do hereby proclaim August 18, 2025 as Sydney Alexander John Louis Day in the City of East Point in remembrance of his life and in recognition of the strength, kindness, and indomitable spirit he brought to this world. We vow to carry forward his legacy through actions that build a more compassionate, understanding, and inclusive community. Let this day stand as a testament to Sydney's profound impact, and may we all be inspired to live with the same courage, joy, perseverance, and love that he so effortlessly shared. And so, I'm going to invite the family up at this time. And so no pressure, but if anyone would like to say a few words, you can at this time, and then after this, we will take pictures and present you the proclamation as well.
My name is Ebony Jean-Louis. This is my husband, Dwayne Jean-Louis. He told me I had to speak, so we just want to say thank you. Sydney definitely left a mark. As you can see, his family is all here from all over the city of Atlanta, but it was important for them to be here. Sydney definitely never let his circumstances defeat his purpose, and his purpose was to show resilience from the day he was born. He never complained about anything, even when he went from walking to being in a wheelchair. He always would let you know that he was good, no matter what the situation was, no matter what anyone felt about his diverse ability, he still persevered. So I just want to say thank you in honoring my son's life, a short 16 years of life, but full of life, and thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Any other family member want to say anything? If not, we're going to come down and take a picture with all of you with the proclamation, if that's okay. All right, next up is Right Side Professional Services presentation from the Fire Department.
Mayor and Council, I believe we have Chief Hill to present on this item.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. I'm William Tate, the Deputy Chief of Operations in the Fire Department, and it is my pleasure this evening to introduce to you Mr. Chip Walls with the company Right Site, and he's going to give you a presentation tonight and answer any questions that you might have about the new medical service that we're bringing to the community called Right Site.
Thank you for the introduction. Good evening. Thank you guys for having me, Mayor, members of the council, members of the community as well. So as you said, we're going to talk about Right Site. It's a company that we're hoping to bring our services into your community, and wanted to share that with you guys tonight. See if we can get this to work. All right, so when 911 calls are an emergency, the EMS calls Right Site. Across the board, nationally, we've looked at it, about 50% of calls that actually come through the 911 system are not what we would consider an actual emergency. It does not mean that these individuals don't need care. These patients don't need intervention from a physician. It just means that sometimes they don't have to ride an ambulance to the ER for their proper care. So we're going to talk about our business model just a little bit. So we come in with you guys, it's going to be straight from the field in the East Point Fire. What we do is we connect you directly with the emergency room physician and a navigator. So the navigator is non-clinical. What they do is work through social issues, which are the reasons that somebody may have accessed the 911 system in the first place. The physician acts as a physician, works through the medical issues. So what we're talking about with the clinical solutions that we can offer is a right site telehealth visit directly from your home. You're not having to be transported to the hospital at all. We give you the same care that you receive at the ER. If we can't achieve what we need to through that, we can get you set up with an urgent care visit. We can pay for transport to and from that urgent care visit. We can also get you set up with a primary care physician if you don't have one. We also work through behavioral health issues. Some of the social solutions that we're able to work through are transportation. A lot of times people are utilizing the 911 system because they don't have transportation to get where they need to go in the first place. Maybe they need assistance with prescriptions. We can provide assistance with that by getting prescriptions delivered and or pay for them. Some people just need food assistance. In those cases, we can work on the short-term problem. We can also work through getting long-term food assistance. We also work through housing. Now, what we're able to do is bring these services to your community at no cost to the community or the patients utilizing our services. So here's some of our numbers across the nation. We've done this quite a bit. 20,000 total activations. Our markets are Georgia, Florida, and Texas right now. When we ask, would you like to talk to an ER doc right now, 91% of the time people say yes. That's why we're ultimately calling 911, because we want to see an ER physician in the end. We are able to successfully redirect 89% of those patients that are sent to us. We have a 9.7 out of 10 patient satisfaction score. We take that very seriously. We see that as an extension of your community. We want to make sure we're providing the best care for the patient possible. Average release time in the field is about 9 minutes. That's significantly shorter than sometimes you're waiting on your transport provider to be able to get on scene, and we're able to provide that care without the individual having to leave their home. When it says 1 unit hour preserved, what we're talking about is for each successful right side activation, it's like adding a unit hour back to the system. Now, what we're talking about are ambulance unit hours. Grady is your service provider in this area. If we can preserve their resources, we're able to keep them available for the more critical, high acuity calls, and we can take care of the lower acuity calls that don't necessarily require a trip to the ER. These are the same numbers just in Georgia. I'm not going to go through them all, but we've done this over 8,400 times in Georgia alone. A lot of those have come out of Atlanta. I'm going to run you guys through the process real quick. So what we like to ask the individual is, would you like to see an ER doc right now? It's straightforward to the point. We're able to bring this ER doctor directly into your home. So what happens is 911 calls initiated, the EMS crew arrives on scene. In this case, it would be an engine with East Point Fire. Triage is completed. Patient is determined to be non-emergent. We ask the question, would you like to talk to an ER doc right now? If the patient agrees, we get them set up with the ER doc and the navigator. Patient consent is a big priority. We want to make sure everybody's on board with this. Navigator is going to work through the situation and the care plan with the patient. This may include, as we said earlier, an in-home telehealth visit. We may be setting them up with an urgent care visit and getting transport there. Setting them up with a primary care physician, specialist, whatever the needs may be. After that, we start a 7 to 14-day care episode where we're working through knocking down all the social barriers, why this patient utilized the 911 system in the first place. Our goal is to empower the patient to take control of their own health care, and we provide them with the tools to do that over that 7 to 14-day care episode. This is an example of a patient that we were able to take care of in Atlanta. So the patient began to feel sick the night before, woke up with a severe sore throat. She reported head and body aches, and her 5-year-old son also had developed a cough. The patient was home alone with her children, and she did not have transportation. She did have car seats available for her children. So the care, this is what EMS did on scene. After initial assessment, EMS activated right side and found non-ER care options for the patient. EMS assisted EMS assisted right side ER doc with a real-time virtual exam, which included positioning the camera to visually inspect the patient's throat. Our doc collaborated with EMS to examine the patient, including a throat exam, recommended an in-person urgent care visit, and shared advice on managing the condition once they returned home. Our navigator, who was working through the social issues, initiated a patient call, providing guidance and expectations, and gathered patient SDOH barriers, which are social barriers to why they're accessing 911. They found and scheduled an in-network, nearby affordable urgent care appointment for the patient, arranged round-trip non-ambulance transportation and our children to the urgent care visit, also completed a 24-hour follow-up post-urgent care and assisted the patient having DoorDash delivery prescriptions to their home. That's all I have. Like I said, we can bring this into your community at zero cost to the community and zero cost to the patient out of pocket. Any questions directly for me?
Yeah, thank you so much for your presentation and this level of innovation as it relates to emergency response. Councilmember Freely.
Thanks for your presentation. So question, how does this work where there's no cost?
Absolutely, great question. Happy to answer it. So we come in at zero cost to the community. If the patient does have insurance, we will bill their insurance. If the patient does not have insurance or they're underinsured, we are not sending them a bill, we're not sending out bill, and we're not trying to collect any funds from this individual. How our business model works is we partner with health plans. I may go to X health plan and say, in this particular community, you're spending X amount of dollars on patients being transported to the hospital and then incurring ER fees as well. We're able to do that much more efficiently, and insurance companies are highly motivated to work with us for that. So that's how we're able to work and operate. We also have a charitable foundation that operates in all the communities we're partnered with, and we provide funds for uninsured through that charitable foundation as well.
And if the person who's requested the services is in what they see at least as an emergency or a crisis situation, how is that whole arrangement sort of communicated to them?
Absolutely.
How is consent given? I mean, I would not want people to
Absolutely.
accept services and then find out that they didn't fully understand financial obligations.
So this is all about patient choice. This is an option. This is not something that you have to do. So what we come in and we offer, would you like to talk to an ER doc right now? They say yes. We go through the consent process, explain what we're able to do, explain the process, and they have the opportunity to say no at any point during this. And we go through the standard process. We may wait on a Grady ambulance to get on scene and go through the standard process. So the patient has total choice in this matter.
And one last question, the no cost continues throughout this potential 14-day care period?
I'm sorry?
Does the no cost?
Yes, absolutely.
Whole period.
It goes through the entire care episode, that's right. And during the 7 to 14-day period, so what we focus on is the initial complaint. We're fixing that, making sure everybody is squared away from that initial call. 7 to 14 days, we're working through the social issues, we're working through any barriers that the patient may need to be able to facilitate health care in a different way next time.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Martin, right?
Yes, and my question is sort of kind of related to Councilmember Freely, but I think with our rollout with this, we need to do our best with informing patients in the city
That's right.
As a whole, because I do think one of the issues is if you call and Right Site comes out,
That's right.
it should be part of educating residents that your insurance may or may not be accepted with this service, correct?
So that is true in a sense, but even if your insurance is not accepted, we will cover the cost for it. So if you're uninsured, your insurance is not accepting this, we have funds built in to cover the cost of whatever care we're providing.
I guess up until how much will you be doing?
There's not a limit on that. We have it built into our business plan to be able to take care of everybody. How we like to look at this is everybody has the ability to call 911, and we want to take care of everybody as well.
Okay, so it's built in your business plan for shortfall or for shortcomings for patients who may not have insurance.
That's correct.
Have coverage.
That's correct. Like I said, we also have a charitable foundation. We have funds to be able to take care of every patient, whether they have insurance or not.
Okay, thank you.
Shropshire.
Thank you. Here's my question. One, so your service is you go out if someone is sick and they call 911. So do you examine them or do you just take them to the ER?
So how it'll work is fire would respond. They would identify this specific patient as a right side eligible patient based on acuity, based on whether it's severe or minor. If it's a minor complaint, they would then ask the patient, hey, would you like to talk to an ER doc right now? If they consent, then they would facilitate a video call to us with existing technology. We would go through the exam with the individuals on scene. After we determine this is in fact something we can manage, we would then release the engine, and then we would continue to provide care.
So basically, you would provide the care if it's nothing life-threatening.
That's correct.
And you would, let's say if they have the flu,
Okay?
you would provide the prescription for?
Yes.
Okay, so it's like the urgent care home visit,
Exactly. It's just virtual.
the same way.
That's correct.
I'm familiar with that.
Okay.
I've utilized that.
That's right. And I tell you, when we are able to come into a community, like I said, our satisfaction score, I think, speaks for itself. We're very proud of that.
Okay, good. So, and if it's life-threatening, then you would,
So if it's life-threatening, now, these guys would have done an assessment, just as they always would when they got on scene. So they, would generally screen out anything. If our physicians do find something during the exam, then they would say, Captain X, we've determined that this is a more high acuity complaint, and we're going to recommend transport to the ER. So it's feedback, it's collaborative assessment with the fire crews on scene, with our ER docs, and we're very careful not to let anything like that slip through the cracks.
okay. So let me ask you this, and this might be a question for Chief Tate.
Okay.
Educating, how are we going to notify, what can we do to notify the residents about this service? Because a lot of people go to urgent care when they really don't have to, because there's a lot of things out there where they don't have to go to urgent care. So how are we going to educate the people to let them know that that this service is available and they can utilize it?
Well, right before we launch this, or if not simultaneously, we're finishing up our mass communication, so we're gonna reach out to all the social media outlets that we have, neighborhood associations, utility bills, and if we have to do training and host classes, we'll do that as well. But there will be a mass communication plan that we're finishing up on.
That is one thing I was going to suggest, is the utility bills, is putting the information inside of there so people will know, and then also sharing it at community meetings, so that will help get the word out as well, because not everyone is on social media, especially the city's social media pages. So the utility bills, as well as neighborhood meetings, to help get the word out.
That is correct. And I also wanted to touch, just to clear some things up, is that the only thing that is changing is that this is an additional option that Mr. Wall said. We're still going to respond to all calls. You have to call 911 to, let's say, activate this. So we're still going to respond to all calls, and we're going to do a full patient assessment. If there's any doubt when we do that assessment that this patient could be emergency or not, we're not going to even offer the service. We'll continue like we do now, and Grady Ambulance will come. So it's just an additional option only, and only if they're non-emergent.
Yes, thank you, Chief Tate, and thank you, Mr. Walls. My question, I just want to make sure that I understand how the no payment sort of system works. So within that 7 to 14-day period, and you're following up with the patient, and that patient has had to go to a bricks and mortar urgent care that you've transported them to, are those urgent cares with whom you have relationships, or are there any urgent care, the closest, or any of those things? How do you guarantee that that urgent care is not going to charge, or how do you settle those payments?
So if we're in a community, we don't have any limits to what, urgent cares we can use in the community. We try to find, if they do have insurance, we try to find an in-network option. If not, or they don't have insurance, like we said, and they need an urgent care visit, then we've got funds to cover that visit as long as they're, under our care. So for that 7 to 14 days, if we need to get the patient out to an urgent care visit, then we're going to cover that cost.
Okay. And I'm imagining that works in your model, because we're not talking about emergency services.
That's correct.
They're okay. The other question, I think that answered all of my questions.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Butler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for your presentation, Chief Tate, and thank you, my friend, Mr. Walls. Yes. How large is your company? And how long have you been in business?
So we've been operating in the field since 2023. The company actually started in 2021. We are headquartered out of San Antonio, Texas. First partner with City of Atlanta Fire. Company has, I believe, 56 individuals. We work in a call center. Navigators are all on site. Physicians, some work on site and some work remote. What was the other aspects to your question?
No, those are good answers. So I just want to make sure I understand too. So the fire department goes out first, and then they give the customer, give the patient the option.
That's right.
And then that's when you're called, and you're called via virtually?
Yes, so they'll have their iPads, tough books, whatever they use on their system. There'll be a link embedded on that. They can come to the patient and say, we've identified your complaint, your emergency as right site eligible. What that means is we can have a telehealth visit here in your home. We don't have to transport you out to the hospital. Would you like to talk to an ER doc right now? So they would initiate this call on their device. That way we can do a video exam. After that's done, then we'll transfer it over to the patient's device if they have one. That way we can continue the dialogue. We just need some way to contact the patient after the fire department leaves.
And so how does transportation work? Do you guys have your transportation?
So we're partnered with Uber Health and Lyft Health. They have specific contracts for healthcare, and we have access on the back end of their system, and we will just dispatch a Uber or Lyft Health unit out for transport. We do have limitations when it comes to non-ambulatory patients, getting them out of the homes, because we don't want to utilize emergency resources like Grady's ambulances for that. But if they're ambulatory, then we can use Uber Health or Lyft Health.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Chief Tate and Mr. Walls, for your presentation. I was just giving it a thumbs up because we do use it in Atlanta Fire, so kudos to you guys. But
That's
yeah,
right.
I mean, it's an excellent program, and I think it would definitely give us an additional tool in our toolbox here in East Point to better serve our residents.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And like I said, this is just another option. Our goal is to preserve emergency resources, keep these resources available for when somebody has a critical emergency or when there's a massive fire operation going on. These resources are available, and that's what our goal is.
Councilmember Atkins?
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I did have a couple of other questions.
Yeah, please.
In addition to the city of Atlanta, what other municipalities are you currently operating?
In Georgia specifically?
Yes, or in the metro area?
I'll start, I'll probably miss a couple. Bear with me. So we're with City of Milton, City of Alpharetta, Sandy Springs, what's that? Union City. We are in Chattahoochee Hills, Henry County, Columbus Fire and EMS, City of Atlanta, Grady EMS. Working here with you guys in East Point, finishing up stuff in Forest Park. I know I've missed a few.
That's fine. That's
Cobb,
okay.
that's right.
It gives me the idea I was looking for.
We're also, like I said, in Florida and Texas. Notably, in Texas, we're in San Antonio, and in Florida, Jacksonville.
Okay. And the last question is, I think in your presentation, you talked about a 9-minute response time. Is that correct?
So, not a 9-minute response time. So, we try to be online within about 30 seconds.
Okay.
Now, our assessment time in the field with fire and our emergency room doc working together generally takes about 9 to 11 minutes for a release time.
Okay.
So we're working with the units on scene for about 9 minutes before they're released to be back in service, just to make sure we're able to handle the call.
And so do you guys have a brick and mortars here in the city of East Point, or do you work alongside the firefighters in firehouses, or where are you actually physically located?
So I am out of around Macon, Georgia. Now, our call center is based in San Antonio, Texas. So they're interacting with our call center in San Antonio Fire Department is virtually. Now, we do not have individuals that are responding to these locations.
Okay.
This is all done virtually.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Councilmember Cummings?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. One more thing I just want to add to this, just to let you all know just how valuable this service is, for the simple fact that in Atlanta, we have 35 stations. and plus the ones that we have out at the airport. So we have a ton of resources. Here in East Point, there are 4 stations that we have. So one of the problems that we have just pretty much everywhere is extended on-scene time. So if it's somebody that's, if one of our stations, they respond to a call, and it could be something, a hurt elbow, we still can't leave the patient. So the thing is, the problem that we're having is extended wait times. Sometimes you're waiting 35, 40 minutes, an hour on scene time for something that just an elbow or something, extremely minor. What that does is that ties up our resources. So if there's another call for a structure fire, that we do need that resource there, that fire engine there, they're on scene waiting for somebody with an elbow that's hurting. So with Right Side, when they come in, they soften that blow for us. So, I mean, it's a very, very valuable service that they provide, and what it does is it frees up our resources. Not saying that any call that they go on is not important. All calls are important, but when we have a structure fire or an apartment fire, we need all hands on deck, as opposed to sitting, like I said, because it does sometimes take 45 minutes for a transport unit to come on scene. That's it, I'm not going to say anything.
Thank you for that, yeah. It's a struggle across the nation with ambulance availability. It's just, unfortunately, there's a shortage of paramedics and EMTs, and those transport units, getting them on scene can sometimes take quite a while, and that's what we're trying to do, is help fix that and keep those units available.
Thank you so much. I know the 8 cities in South Fulton have had a lot of pain and anxiety with Grady's response time, and I sometimes don't even call it response, it takes them so long. And we've tried to collectively see if there's a way to get changes so that we could get licensed, like Hateville got theirs a long time ago, and so they're grandfathered in, but we can't get a license to transport.
That's right.
And so it creates a number of challenges that, really could be life or death situations.
That's right.
And so I'm not surprised to hear that other cities in South Fulton have joined on, because this is desperately needed. I mean, literally response times have taken over an hour.
That's right.
Or more for people with cardiac issues, right? Not just, I got a bad cold. And so when did you all start in East Point?
What's that? Sorry?
When did have you all started here yet?
No, ma'am, we have not. We're just working through the final processes.
Okay. And what's the timeline that we anticipate getting through that process?
That would be a question for Chief.
You mentioned East Point, I was like, I think we're still considering, but you're being fortuitous, but this is a great time to be fortuitous with this, so.
Like I said, we're finishing up our communications plan, so we hope to launch it soon, but like I said, we plan on putting everything out, if not simultaneously, right before everything is launched, but hopefully real soon, in the next couple of few weeks or so.
So council's already approved this?
Yes.
And I think we wanted it to be on the agenda tonight so that the public can hear the presentation about what it is. And you said you're working on the timeline and communication, but do we have, are we trying to roll out this fall, this winter, winter, just a rough estimate?
Oh, no, definitely this fall. I mean, sooner than later.
Okay.
Like I said, it was approved at the last work session, but we just had to work out some small details of contracts, but we're ready to start moving forward now.
You mean last council meeting?
July 14th work session?
Yeah, okay.
Well, when it was approved.
Okay.
And since it was approved, that's when we started finalizing everything we need, but we're just about finished, so we should.
And I think it would be helpful when you all work out those details to do a presentation to council before execution so that we're aware of the timeline, how it's going to be communicated, and all that information, and also have an opportunity to provide any input prior to the dissemination and rollout. Mr. Jones. My question for you, what's your name again? Mr. Walls, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Is there a maximum number of calls that you all can handle per city? How does it work?
So we try to grow very thoughtfully. We're a relatively new company, and we want to be able to deliver on our brand promise. So as we're going live, especially with larger departments, like Fort Worth, Texas, City of Atlanta, we're projecting volume. So we're having very thoughtful conversations with the leadership of these departments. What do you expect the volume is? So we're growing our staff as we continue to grow with new partners. So we're very thoughtful in that. We don't have a maximum amount, but what we do have is as we grow, especially with new partners, we have timelines where we can bring new partners on, if you know what I'm saying. So we don't have a maximum, but we do need time to expand our services to cover so we continue to deliver on our brand promise.
And then generally, how long does it take to expand your staffing? And so you all are working on, finalizing things.
So with a department with a volume like this, we're ready to step in and, cover it. It's something we're prepared to do as soon as we get everything worked out with the details.
And so we won't have a maximum number of calls per month?
No. What we would ask is we'll get together with fire leadership, try to come up with what we think might be an average number. And we just want to make sure we've got the staff to handle those calls. So there's not a maximum number, no, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions? Is this something that we should put on the September work session? Do you all think you will have it done by September 8th? 9th will be the work session.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
So, Madam City Clerk, if you could put this on our September 9th work session as a presentation, so we can kind of just get updates. I mean, this is a very innovative healthcare solution, and we definitely want to make sure we make it available to our residents as soon as we can. And then clearly make sure that the information articulates, if you have insurance, don't be surprised you will be billed, right? But there will be if your insurance covers $100, it's $150, you will cover the other 50.
That's correct. Yeah, we're not we're not sending out bills for the remainder of the balance. If the insurance pays this, then we cover the rest. We do bill your insurance, so you may see an explanation of benefits on your plan information, but we're not sending out bills, and we're definitely not trying to collect on that. So,
well, thank you so much, and we may see you on the 9th, or if not, our staff can give us updates.
All right.
But a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
You mean the 8th? You said
No, the 2nd is Labor Day, so we meet on the 3rd, and then the following Monday would
You
be.
said September 9th. You
Right,
said
it's going to be
8th.
the 9th, right?
The 8th.
Oh, my bad. Oh, September 1st is a Monday. So we meet on September 2nd. September 8th, thank you, will be the work session.
Because I know that's the day.
After your birthday, yep.
Thank you.
September the 8th.
All right. Thank
All
you,
right,
guys.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we have a presentation on customer service notifications. I put this on the agenda because I've seen a number of posts and received information in my office regarding customer service notifications that people are receiving with zero balance. So it says you owe $0, but we're going to disconnect your services. We also put out a notice saying that we're going to start our disconnection policy again on August 1st, but the notice went out on August 14th or 15th. That's the first time I saw it. There's also an account where a notice was received indicating that the account is on auto pay, and received a notification saying that the payment has been returned, but the payment was never processed. And so I don't know if there's issues with the system. I mean, my bill is on auto pay, that's the notice I got, and I'm like, it didn't even come out. So I'm not sure what's happening, but the number of posts or information or questions that we're receiving around this have grown over the last couple of days, and it's like, why would we send out disconnection notices to people who have a zero balance? So, Mr. Jones, I'm gonna turn it over to you. I see staff in front of us though, so I'll have you open it up or turn it over to.
Yes, Mayor, Council, have Michelle Adamson. She's our customer service manager, and she'll walk us through some of those questions.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. In regards to the notifications that were sent out on Friday, what we realized is that when we went over to the new system, which is the cloud of BSNA, the parameters were set, but the parameters were not set for the auto pay customers. So first, we want to apologize to everyone that has received a notification with a zero balance, and that's on auto pay. So we're working with BSNA as of today, this morning, to go ahead and rectify that situation so it does not occur again. Like I said before, we do apologize to every citizen that received a notification with a zero balance and is on auto pay. So in regards to the resuming of the disconnection for non-pay, we typically send out the notification. It went online on August the 4th. With the implementation of the new system, BSNA, we pretty much was in a training mode. We were trying to learn the system, learn all of the issues that we may, that may happen in the future once BSNA left. So it was sort of like a delay in putting the notification out there that we will resume the disconnection of services after August 1st. So we're just trying to be transparent with what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that we communicate with the citizens to let them know, pretty much what our processes are and what we will be doing in the future.
Okay, but the notice saying we're gonna start August 1st went out August 14th or 15th. Like it went out 2 weeks after that. Was the intent for it to say September 1st, or was it just like, this is when we started, not we're gonna start?
So the notification is stated that we will resume disconnections after August 1st. So we did not have a actual date when we would start, but we would like to start in August. So that's why we put after August 1st, just to make everyone aware that we will start the resuming a disconnection. And it did go out on August 4th. It was posted on the website on August 4th.
And then, so the people set up for auto pay, like, are you gonna run it again? Like, do I have to come in and pay?
Repeat that question.
So you said the notices went out to people who were on auto pay, is what you've learned through your investigation?
Yes.
So that's for you're gonna be disconnected, but the one that was received where it says your payment was returned, but it wasn't run, are you all running that again?
Now, I'll have to look at that in particular, because I was not aware of that. I only knew about the disconnection notifications that went out, as well as the resuming of disconnection of services. So I knew about those. I don't recall anything about that one. So if you can give me more information, I'll look into it.
Yeah, you can just look at my account. I'm on auto pay.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
that's what I got.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Ziegler?
Yes, thank you. There are a ton of people who received all different kinds of notices. Are we going to make any kind of public statement to clarify what we meant to say, or, to say, hey, if you receive this disconnection notice, ignore it? Because there's a lot of people, because we normally do cut off people pretty quickly, that they're very worried and concerned about their bill.
Can we do it? Can we do it?
Looking at you,
Yeah.
a public statement, like, I mean, I'm having this so we can have a discussion on the record, because there are so many people, but a statement from the city, I don't have the information, so a statement from the city acknowledging what happened, why it happened, what are we gonna do about it, and how do we prevent it from happening again?
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable thing to do, and we can have that also in, on our website, as well as believe there were some notifications that went out on email of customers that we have on their accounts that we can send that messaging out to.
So staff will go ahead and start working on that process and getting the information out as soon as possible.
Okay. Is there any way to know on our side who received these emails or notifications that they can be emailed directly as well? Because they may not be on Facebook, they may not know to check the website.
So we were in contact with BSNA on this morning. Like I say, everything went out Friday, emails start coming through on Friday and Saturday. I just watched the emails. So the goal is to find out exactly what the number is in terms of what went out to the customers, so that we can, advise and we rectify the situation with an apology.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Atkins.
Yes, I just want to echo the sentiments of my colleague, Ms. Ziegler. Yes, we got a lot of phone calls and emails and text messages over the weekend. This comment is really directed toward City Manager Jones. And I started thinking about it when Chief Tate was presenting the right site information and how we would get information out to citizens. A few months ago, when there was a lot of discussion around Utility Hawk and there was efforts to get citizens to sign up because you have to consent in order to receive direct push. And then there was even further conversation about the city doing a huge push to get citizens to sign up for such a service, because if we were able to do that and it could tie into like the Utility Hawk system, we would be able to communicate quicker with citizens, and this would be a great example of that. Because to the comments of some of the citizens earlier, they're not all on social media. If it's going to be mailed out, that snail mail, we don't know when, by the time it gets there, this is a non-issue. And so I just would offer that up again, City Manager Jones, about a communication platform where we could send out notices. It could include road closures, water main breaks, a whole number of things, but it would get to citizens a lot quicker. We haven't had any discussion really much since that time, but it started around the whole Utility Hawk conversation. So I thought this would be a great opportunity for something like that, so that it could be almost real time to get the information out to the citizens, to clear up any confusions and to quell any fears about cutoffs in this situation. Thank you.
But was there any way to test this before it went out citywide to like, because it's not like it was people with a balance, it was people with zero balance. Like, so did you mention people who are on auto pay? It wasn't whatever didn't happen for them. So like, but we know we have people on auto pay. We know we have like different accounts and different statuses, I guess I should say. Like, was there no discussion about checking, the different account statuses, whether it's auto pay, where people don't pay, to make sure before we rolled out and it went out so far and so wide and people are getting notices and like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I'm just trying to figure out, how did we get here without testing first? And how do we miss a whole account status type? So it sounds like people who are on auto pay got notices about things that are not even applicable, really, right?
Right. So, in all honesty, we had BSNA there as a part of our training with our billing team. And we checked them to make sure that what we were doing as far as processes, in terms of notifications, that process was checked when BSNA was here. But when we had the timeline to start the process again, we did not test it before we actually did the process. But when BSNA was here, everything was in order after the conversion to show that it's similar to what we did before. But it wasn't verified in a test mode prior to us sending out the notification. So,
all right, any other comments? I mean, I just think we have so many challenges and issues that possibly could have been prevented before causing so much alarm or sending out things that appear to be not as efficient, or that we don't know the system. I know we're testing out a new system, but these are people with zero balances and they're like, what do you mean my service is gonna be disconnected? Auto pay comes out every month. What do you mean it was returned when it wasn't even attempted? Like, so have you all looked at all of that now?
yes, we're still looking into it. We worked with BSNA this morning. We're still working with them. We're going to continue to work with them and to figure out exactly and to test it to make sure that it's working properly, so we can put those correct parameters in, so this will not happen again.
And when you talked to them this morning, did they say about how long that's gonna take? Like, so I'm just trying to get an idea of when we might be able to send out communication that actually has all of the information, because I don't know, sending piecemeal information, but if it's gonna take too long, we might have to do multiple communications.
They did not give us an exact time, because there's other things that we need to look at in terms of the notification. So I would say at least give us 48 to 72 hours to continue.
When you say other things you need to look at regarding the notifications, what other things?
The verbiage, the shut-off notice verbiage, the shut-off notice, because if you remember, it was a utility bill reminder. So typically, that's what it was, but I think after the conversion, everything converted back over to how the information came across when we did the first conversion with BSNA. So we're looking at everything possible with the notifications to make sure that we're putting out the correct information.
The other lights, we probably need this on the September 2nd agenda as an update on where we are. If communication goes out in between, so be it, but like, I'm hopeful that we'll have a rollout that doesn't have as many glaring issues. I mean, transitioning systems, there's always some challenges, right? But like whatever we can prevent or think about and anticipate, like, you know, we have people on auto pay, like there are things that we can anticipate trying to get ahead of, and hopefully we'll do that moving forward. But thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Any committee reports from, oops, see, I didn't circle, no. I checked the items off as we go along, and I made a mistake and checked right side professional services at the top of the presentation, and when it was done, I put another check mark on item number 3, but we haven't done item number 3. So we're gonna go back to item number 3, City Council credit card payments, reimbursement, and reporting. Councilmember Atkins.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. This is an item that I requested to be placed on the agenda back in July. I think it was initiated based on the incident that we had at our MEAC conference. For me, it's happened a few times, and I know that Mr. Golden is here, so he may also want to just stick around and speak to it. But this particular time, we were at the MEAC conference, and our city-issued credit cards did not work. And so we were required to pay out of our pockets in order to get to our hotel room, and that was a little over $1,700. And so I really just wanted to know, because that's also happened for my NLC conference, and I've heard other colleagues talk about not being able to book their conferences or travel. So I just wanted to know what our process is for credit card payments, how those things work, and how we can sort of mitigate this from happening in the future. Yes, Madam Clerk.
All right, so on my behalf, we, credit cards close on the 4th, right? Yeah, they closed on the 4th of the month. I typically reach out by the 7th because I know we're not going to get them in the mail in time enough. I reach out to our bankers at Regions via email to get the credit cards from them digitally. That takes typically 2 to 3 business days for them to send them back to me during that time. And most of the time, that's still the quickest way for me to get it outside of me, because most of the time, by the time we get our credit cards in the mail, our credit card statements in the mail, we've already processed them, because at least the bank did provide them to me. But what was your other question?
So are we paying the credit cards by check? Are we paying electronically? How are we doing the payment to make sure that it gets there as quickly as possible so that there is available space on the cards for our training and travel?
By check. We take them as soon as we get the checks. We take them directly to the bank. We literally walk to Regions to pay the credit card bills as soon as we get the checks for them the day that we do.
Is that the only payment method that is available through Regions Bank? I'm just surprised that we're still making payments by check.
When it comes to getting all the information and processing, we do process by check. However, we can also auto debit, but auto debit is a feature where it just catches if you don't make a payment. So at the end of the month, it'll auto debit for the balance of the credit card. However, I can ask back office to auto debit immediately to pay the balance.
Well, I don't know what my recommendation would be because it would be operational, and I guess I would leave it for you guys to figure those things out. But it creates an issue for, city travel when the cards don't work. And so just wanted to make sure that we're doing everything that we can within the functionality of the bank. Is it something that we might need to look into in terms of switching banks to have a different way to pay? Because I also noticed that if, Madam Clerk, you're paying by check and if it's getting there, I know that I've seen some late fees and some interest. And so how do we avoid those things? Is it better for us to avoid any late fees or interest if we pay electronically to get the payment to the bank faster?
Well, Councilman Atkins, with that, yes, we can pay the credit card when it's due via ACH. However, those things need to be processed in a timely manner in order to do that. I think there was a timing issue with your card as well as other council members who were traveling that day. So on that Monday, I was able to call the back office and get them to auto debit, and it releases the available balance immediately. So then your card is, you're able to use your card.
Right. And I appreciate that, but I'm just trying to see what we could do so that we don't have to get to that. I actually, on that particular trip, I didn't take my Amex. I mean, I had to use my debit and pay $1,700+ to be able to get a key to go up to my room.
So what I've suggested in this process is that we continue to process the credit card as normal. However, we do have an auto debit feature that I added for all council members and city manager and the mayor in order to, so if there are any lapses and for whatever reason they miss processing the payment, it catches that payment at the end of the month. So that is a fail-safe that I added recently.
So that's new?
That's new,
So
sir.
we won't have these issues moving forward?
No, sir.
Okay.
So that's new to me.
Yeah, that's a new feature that I added. I mean, I've asked, of course, to make sure that if anybody's traveling, to let us know, give us advance notice, so we can, if need be, increase credit line. However,
I want to just pause right there, Mr. Golden. Now, I would have a greater issue with that. I think that we have a policy that our limits are to be at a certain level, so I wouldn't want my limit increased. I would just want us to make sure that we're paying the bills on time. And so I don't know how efficient it is if we've got to always call to say, hey, we're traveling, well, we've got training. So I just wanted to know what our processes are to make sure that we don't continue to have these issues.
Yes, sir. So as I explained, as Keisha explained, once we get the statement, city clerk puts together the requisition. The requisition is then goes through the workflow. It's approved. PO is issued. Check is issued. It's deposited at the bank or paid at the bank. Credit card is usually updated from the check payment within 24 to 48 hours. However, if we need to in the future, have availability on the card, we can communicate, and I can make a ACH payment as long as the documentation is there.
And like Shannon said, we process the cards the day we get them. Once I receive them from the bankers, we process them that day. And finance absolutely helps us out a lot by cutting our checks outside of the check run. So if we got credit cards all this today and we needed the payment tomorrow, finance will go ahead and cut the checks.
We do make it a priority.
They do.
So why is Regions charging us interest and late fees if the team here is processing those as soon as they get them?
Like I said, if I don't get them after 2 days after the statement closes on the 5th, right? Yeah, if I don't get them 2 days after that, on the 7th, I'm reaching out to the bankers to ask them, hey, I need all the credit card statements, and I list all of counsel for them. And that still sometimes takes a day or two for them to send them back to me, but it's still faster than us receiving them in the mail.
Okay. All right.
Councilmember Ziegler?
Yes, thank you. So, being on council has been an interesting experience, especially when I've been able to travel in my own, business, professional life as well. So, a couple of things about the way that we are processing payments and the way that we're submitting receipts. All that, it seems like we really need to get it in gear and really make our processes better. So first thing, I never see a credit card statement. I never see my own. I really think that we need to see our own statements so that we can ensure that the correct purchases are on there. There's no way for us to actually make sure. Do you have a question?
I was like, you don't, but I know they're typically sent out specifically when we, for missing receipts, but I think you should always.
Oh, she's talking about
Yeah, I
continuing
know, okay.
Councilmember Ziegler?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so the only thing that I get sometimes is an email from you or someone from your office saying that there's missing receipts, but I don't always get that email as well. And so the way that we're doing this, it seems inconsistent. And so we really need to drill down, a policy on how we're going to do this going forward, with us getting our own statements so we can ensure that the purchases on there are correct. Credit card fraud happens, and especially with city credit cards, I would imagine that it's a high risk card to have. And then also, typically when you have a job where you have the ability to go travel, there's a website that you go and you submit your receipts. You don't hand them off to a person, you just go onto this website and then you upload your receipts and it reconciles everything for you. I think that that's something that we're really going to need to implement as well.
Do you have the name of that software or website?
Concur.
Concur?
Mm-hmm. That's, yeah, it's a pretty popular one.
Okay.
And then about our available balance, so I know that I had trouble using my card. I think it was when we went to DC, and it seemed like there's not just our own personal limit on our credit card, but there is a limit that the entire city has. And if that limit is breached or is maxed out, it doesn't matter if I have an available balance on my card. If somehow this group available credit is used up, then I also can't use my card. The way it was explained to me was really confusing because it doesn't make any sense, because if I have available credit on my card, I would think that I would be able to use that. But that has not been the case, and my card has been declined.
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Ziegler. This card program was set up way before I got here. So recently, we did increase the credit limit so that it would be more effective and we wouldn't have the situations that we had earlier this year where balances were, there were no balances, right? So, and what we did, well, what I did is increase it enough so where the balances that we currently have, even if we added additional people, it wouldn't cause an issue.
Okay. I guess I'm just a little confused on this group available credit.
It functions as a line of credit, and each credit card is, as an individual, you're given a line of that credit. So you're given, say if your line was 5,000, a department head could be 10,000. It's allocated in that fashion for the whole entire line.
Okay. But
So
if I have a zero balance on my credit card, and so I have $5,000 available on my credit card to spend, I was still getting declined, and the reason that was provided to me was that there's a group available credit that was used up.
Correct, and that was before we increased the credit line. So what I'm saying is, during the time where you were getting declined, we reached the max level of the credit card line. So that, say that credit card line was $100,000, I think it was $100,000. It was spread amongst the members of council as well as the department heads, right? And so if someone arbitrarily had an emergency and they used all of their credit line, it could potentially, if everybody used it all at once, it could potentially bring it to the max limit.
So the sorry to keep drilling on this, but so it sounds like that there's a maximum credit available that is lower than the total amount of every person's credit card together?
It was at one point.
Oh, wow, okay. All right, and so now, I think I heard that you guys are auto debiting, so that okay. So, but then that would be before we can check to make sure that everything is correct and we have all the receipts and everything like that.
Yeah, you should receive your bank statement to check the transactions. However, say for instance, it didn't get submitted for processing for payment, that auto debit would catch that at the end of the month so that it would be paid. We wouldn't incur any fees or interest with that account or with your account.
Okay. So I guess, do we have any kind of a process to make sure that the purchases are real and that they were legal and everything like that? Do we have a process for that?
As informed, as it relates to the city clerk or?
Whoever.
I know we're working on a credit card policy, but for the most part, we understand what illegal transactions look like. Yes, we do monitor some of those. We wouldn't be able to, say for finance, we wouldn't be able to articulate or identify something from a department that department paid for. So if Public Works goes out and, purchase cement or something, we have no idea what that is, but that department does. They know if an extra item on that transaction shouldn't be there or not, because they have firsthand knowledge of it.
Okay.
And then just to piggyback on that, like when Shania sends out, my office manager sends out the missing receipt form, she also attaches your credit card bill statement to it so that you can see like, hey, here's your statement, but these are the receipts that we are missing. Because some of you, I do receive your receipts. Like once you make your purchase, we have a notebook that we put it in behind your name. So basically when those credit card statements come, some of y'all we don't have to reach out to because we already have the invoices for it, the receipts for it. But like I said, she attaches the statement to it so that you can see whatever missing receipts that we needed.
Okay. So I think we've reached a point where maybe it would be better to take this offline for a better word choice. But I think that there's a lot of room for improvement with our processes because things are not being done consistently across council members. We really need to drill down a better way to do a lot of these things. I know in the audit, it came out that we need to get a different bank because, they're just not capable of providing the information that we need. And it sounds like that they're also not capable of providing a service that puts us in this current century. And it takes a lot of time. I would hate to walk a handful of checks across the street. So, thanks.
Councilmember Martin Rogers.
Thank you, and I know that, Madam City Clerk and Finance Department, thank you so much for your presentation. But I also know that you report to 9 different members of council. Is it 9? Oh, well, for 8 members of council for credit card statements. And you've heard a lot here tonight, and I would like to encourage you, and we probably need to familiarize ourselves with the travel policy, like how far in advance do you need to know that a council member will be traveling? I know that in the past, that has been an issue when some council members have decided, hey, I'm going to go on such and such trip. And I remember getting calls from you like, hey, are you going? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to go. But we probably need to familiarize ourselves with the travel and how far in advance that you need that notice. There was also mention about credit card statements. We receive our credit card statements. They've been shared on social media by some council members. So I think that you should work on streamlining the credit card payments and processes and just look at what other cities are doing to better streamline their processes in order to help assist you and your efforts. Thank you.
Yes, in addition to the Concur platform, I have also just chatted with some other municipalities. Truist Bank has a portal for their credit cards, and the way that this particular municipality has set it up is it would automatically push out an email to the council member to let them know that within 48 hours that receipt needs to be uploaded to the portal, and it continues to notify them until that receipt is uploaded. So that's another option. You can look at the functionality of what Truist Bank provides in addition to looking into Concur. But I've heard about Truist's program twice, and so I just wanted to mention that.
So quick question, so that there's, so the email will be sent directly to the credit card holder?
That is correct.
Okay. I just haven't heard that before. That's different. Okay.
Yeah. And I believe that the municipality sets up parameters. So if the receipts are not uploaded within a certain period of time, then I think that the card might shut off until those things are uploaded so that they're all in compliance. But that's one of the ways that they're trying to keep their city in compliance.
Councilmember Shropshire.
Thank you. And I was going to say, being that the receipts has to be submitted to the city clerk. Now, Concur, I'm very familiar with that. That's also a travel system as well. So you would upload all of your documents into the Concur system, and you also can do your travel through the Concur system. The government has that system. So I'm very familiar with that. And I think that that might be a better way because it stays in that system for quite some time. You have to upload all your receipts. You even have to do an expense worksheet and upload that in the system.
It is surprising, disappointing, and a whole lot of other things that we bank with a bank that still takes checks for credit card payments. I don't pay my credit card payment with a check. Regions Bank has how many accounts? I mean, they have hundreds of millions of dollars our money in deposit, right?
Yes, ma'am.
The fact that we have any credit card issues is alarming, as it relates to, like, I've traveled and get to a hotel at night and your card is declined. Like, that is embarrassing. And I'm not traveling for myself. Like, we're traveling on behalf of the city. I don't use my credit card all the time. Like, to get somewhere and your card is declined while you're trying to get into a room, and then you got to make 1,000,001 phone calls to try to get it resolved. Like, this isn't the first time that we've heard about this. And the issues continue to grow. And there haven't been any recommendations of solutions brought forward by the people who process this. My assistant handles my credit card and all of that. And so, but when those situations happen, like, she submitted the information on time, I have the receipts, like, but we know that there's issues, yet we're still standing here tonight, like, we could potentially look into some things. The accounts where, so the check that we take to Regions Bank, is it a Regions Bank check?
Yes, ma'am.
So we writing a Regions check bank, we writing a check on a Regions Bank account. We taking it, walking it over to Regions Bank. Like, does that not sound antiquated or what? And like, how long have we been doing this? One of the recommendations, and as Councilmember Ziegler mentioned in the audit report, is to possibly consider another bank, but like, when are we gonna do that? Like, we didn't stop and think, like, we're having credit card issues because of not paying. They have hundreds of millions of dollars from the city in the bank. So we don't have a $100 million credit line. And then we're cutting a check that says Regions Bank to take to Regions Bank to pay a Regions Bank credit card. So this is like almost nonsensical that we continue to operate in this fashion and the issues aren't being resolved. In fact, they're increasing. More and more people are traveling and having these issues. And it doesn't sound like we're any closer to a solution other than selecting an auto debit instead of taking a check, a Regions Bank check to Regions Bank to pay on an account at Regions Bank. So, Councilmember Atkins, I don't know, do you want this to come back? This is, I'm sorry, I didn't see you, Councilmember. Butler, and I'll come back to you, Councilmember.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. One of the things, though, I would like to say in the staff's defense, too, I think that we are being underbanked. And I think that we've been taken advantage, or that when I was a banker, it was my job to present solutions to my customer. So that's where I have a problem with. Regions Bank understands what the issues are. And so I don't want to, I'm not trying to abdicate responsibility, but however, I think that if somebody wants our business, that they need to be actively trying to bank us. And those are situations that we need to have that kind of conversation too, because there are recommendations that the bank can make towards the city to help make things smoother also.
Thank you. So I know our last work session, we spoke on somewhat credit card policy, updating on credit card policy. I noticed we didn't get around to the travel part of that. I'm not sure if that goes to colleagues or if there's something that's already on the agenda, or when do we actually talk about the travel part of this policy?
The city manager said he's breaking it, he separated it, so it's the credit card and then the travel, but they're working on the travel.
Okay, I think for us to have a robust discussion about this, we actually have to have some type of travel policy that we all can agree on. Mr. City Manager, I'm not sure if that's your thinking on this matter. We can't really talk about reimbursement or reporting until we can actually talk about what is allowable. for certain things and what should be reimbursed, if that makes sense.
Well, I will say that I kind of took the lead on the credit card portion of it. At the time, council asked me to personally get involved in that. I think it had been worked on with legal for some time, and it was asked for me to get involved in that piece of it. But in the meantime, finance, Elizabeth is working on the travel portion, and so she's looking at best practices, and we'll be having some of that information coming to council shortly.
Okay, and I guess, Mr. Atkins, Councilman, are we keeping this on the agenda? I'm missing this. Are we going to bring this back up?
Yes, I think the mayor was going to ask me that, and I would like for it to come back with any of the action taken to address these issues, because it's, just solutions, because I think that we're not working smart, we're working hard, and particularly if, to Councilmember Ziegler's point, if we're talking about a line of credit, oftentimes for these conferences, early bird rates have to be paid, but if because of someone else's action, I don't have access to the limit that is on my card, then I can't take advantage of that, so I have to charge later, which then the taxpayers are really paying for that because those fees go up after early bird. So there's so many instances and circumstances where I think that we are losing money or wasting money. So I would like for this to stay on the agenda to hear the solutions to a lot of the concerns. And as has been mentioned, this is not a new issue, but I don't hear any solutions around it.
Really quick, Mr. City Manager, you said you're working on a completion or a draft of a travel policy. Is there?
So to be clear, finance is working on that. I'm not been involved in that. Staff is working on that.
Okay.
But I'm being told that it's nearing completion and it will be coming before council shortly. The council in the last meeting received information on the credit card policy. I'm still waiting to get feedback on that. We had a number of different sample policies in there that we're hoping to get the best of those policies so that we can craft, and I'm working with legal to help craft the synopsis of that process, and that will be coming shortly. So council should be seeing both items come shortly, but they're being worked on by two different aspects of the city to bring those, two different work groups, if I would say, work to bring those things forward.
Cool. So in the same fashion, we'll be able to look at the different drafts of the travel policy, and maybe you might give us a draft, you might ask for feedback, or is that?
I haven't seen that, but from what I understand, it is best practices, very similar to what I presented with the credit card portion. So I would expect there will be multiple jurisdictions, maybe even some best practices from GMA. I haven't seen that, but that's typical process.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Are you?
I think we have to travel down simultaneous lanes, like different lanes at the same time. Like things can't wait. Like people are still traveling, and yes, we need a policy. I'm not disagreeing on that or to update the policy, but like these issues can't keep happening. Like people have travel or training scheduled. For the 71-page document that we got about credit card policy, council has looked at that and given feedback to legal, and the document that the city attorney has redlined is actually a compilation of everything that's previously been discussed. It's probably most efficient or more efficient for the city manager's staff to look at. I mean, I think you shared 4 or 5 different other credit card policies. Well, look at the one that has been compiled by the city attorney, and the red lines reflect comment and previous discussion from this council, and combining the existing credit card policy with some other provisions that were requested. And so that document that the city attorney has is one that we've already been through, looking at another, I don't know, maybe it's 60 pages or whatever, is a daunting task when we've gone through that. Maybe that's an opportunity for staff to compare those other cities with what has come about during discussion with council, and either blue line or green line add additional recommendations on the one that has been compiled by legal from several previous meetings and discussions about it, to then give us something to respond to, versus asking everybody to look at 5 additional policies from other cities when we've kind of gone through that exercise and made some recommendations. I'm not saying that those other cities might not have something that we should look at, but I think maybe it'd be helpful for operations to look at those others and see if there's something missing in ours. I mean, we could very well be tracking them and there's nothing additional to add. The travel policy, I mean, it would be ideal if these are traveling on the agenda at the same time, and I know this past work session, we only had the credit card policy, but when that comes back in September, it would be great to have a travel policy so that they're traveling at the same time. They previously were traveling together, and I think it's important that they come back together. The embarrassment that this council mayor and council continue to experience with traveling with credit card issues that have been raised, and like there has to be some solve, like sooner rather than later. If not, I mean, $1,700 out of, like, that's just not something I'm willing to do, to travel. And it's not something that we should have to do when traveling on behalf of the city to conferences or things that, and has anybody thought about maybe prior to council traveling, checking the limits and making the process prior to travel such that you know that everything is straight, so that when they get there, if there are going to be potential issues, you've already worked them out. Because generally when we get places, the bank is closed. And unfortunately, although we have hundreds of millions of dollars in Regions Bank, do y'all have somebody's cell numbers you can call at night to get anything done? So being underbanked, as was suggested earlier, like but we can't really wait, because then we'd have to pause our travel until we come up with policies. And we've been trying to come up with these policies for a long time. But, you know, if staff is getting information and feedback on challenges, like a solution, not this is kind of what we do and what we've been doing hasn't worked. What happened? Why did it happen? What are we going to do about it? And how do we prevent it from happening again? And tonight, the discussion doesn't give me any sense of confidence that if I travel, the next time I travel for city business, that I'm not going to have issues, because we don't have solutions. So I need to do these things simultaneously. The credit card, do you want that one on September 9th too? September 8th, so they travel together as 3?
Yes.
So September 8th, work session for this credit card policy and travel policy. And does anybody have any travel between now and then? Between now and September 9th?
Nope.
Okay. All right, well, hopefully we'll have some credit card solutions by then. I don't see any committee reports from council members that serve on the respective committees, HR or budget and finance. Councilmember Martin Rogers.
Yes, we have a proposed Human Resources Committee meeting on August 28th.
On that, if to adopt consent agenda items 5 through 25.
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We are now at the discussion on forensic audit. Is there a motion to open the floor for discussion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Councilmember Butler.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I just want to open up the floor for discussion. I think there is an ask that we publish the forensic audit online, and there's some, I just want to open up the floor for discussion so we can decide if that's what we want to do or not.
So floor is open. We just did that, so, yep, so, huh? No, I mean, you had me confused with your filibuster, because I'm like, we just did that. So I don't know if there's something else. Mitchell?
Yes, thank you. I know there were a couple issues concerning a couple of the recommendations in the last report that I know some of my colleagues said they want these things clarified. So I know one of the issues had to do with a nonprofit group that helps out seniors with the yard work. So I believe everybody was attached to these emails, spoke with them. I tried to get the answers to the questions. I believe the last I've heard from them, I believe those questions were answered to their satisfaction. I'm not sure what other reasonings they might be out there for us not to release this fiscal, this audit online. I just know that was one that came up last time. Yeah, I'm in for a discussion, so thanks.
Any other discussion?
Madam Mayor,
I have to look for an email while Councilmember Martin Rogers. Now come back to Councilmember.
Yes, what I wanted to say was and I am a part of the email thread or the email chain, whatever we want to call it, but in looking back at Plant Moran's scope of work, no one other than the city attorney's office should have been engaging Plant Moran. So, I mean, that was the scope of work that was signed in 22, 23? I have to pull that up, but no one should have been engaging with Plant Moran except for the city attorney's office. I don't think anyone really has an issue with the report being released. However, there are still questions. I know I've received several questions from my constituents that need to be addressed or answered. And as it was previously mentioned, not only was the Men of Intelligence Association mentioned in the audit, but there's still the question of the NAACP. They were mentioned in the audit. A known radio host, WAOK, was also mentioned in the audit. And there was also a mention of another member of council with an outstanding bill for $811 and a little over 42 cents, also mentioned in the forensic audit report. So my ask is, maybe we need to develop some questions so that the city manager can hear or from everyone on this council that has additional questions about the forensic audit report, but there's still several questions that need to be answered as it relates to this report, and I yield.
And I'm sorry, I meant to open this discussion up by reading the email from the auditor. What I find quite interesting is that this auditor has no problem responding to questions by email, but the only question that basically causes auditor to refuse to come to present to council after saying that they would come to present to council is a question about how the scope got expanded. The auditor sent 3 or 4 emails in response to questions that Councilmember Mitchell sent by email regarding Men of Intelligence, but that one question is preventing an auditor that we paid a considerable amount of money to do a report and is refusing to come to this council, to a council meeting after being willing to because of one question. I find that quite interesting because actually the question could just be answered in an email, and maybe that wouldn't even be a topic of discussion at the presentation, but the auditor has no problem responding to emails and questions that Councilmember Mitchell has shared since then. I'm not sure if others, but she's constantly going back and forth with information and responding to questions, but refuses to come to this council meeting, a council meeting, to discuss this publicly or have any questions raised to them publicly. So on August 12th, Tuesday, that was after the last meeting, Madam Mayor, thank you for reading my Friday email at the public meeting yesterday. The reading reduced the possibility of interpretations. Council members, please know we will aid Mr. Jones as he gains an understanding of the forensic work performed and the recommendations in the Plant Moran report. Since he will be presenting the status of each recommendation at a September council meeting that they should be at, we will, that's my insertion, so that's not the quote, that's me inserting something. We will respond to any questions he may have in the interim related to the analysis performed to help him prepare for his presentation since our work occurred when he was not at the city of East Point. While Mr. Jones is the right person due to his role to convey to council the changes instituted based on our recommendations, we do not want to leave him without resources for this presentation. My question is, are they going to charge us? Because they keep talking about supplemental reports, and they've already received a considerable amount of money for this. City Manager, Mr. Jones, my contact information is below to please reach out at any time. We commend the city for embarking on this important process, and we hope we have provided answers to the questions that were previous concerns for the city to help the city move forward as the recommendations are evaluated/instituted. The city will only be stronger as are most clients after a forensic engagement is completed. And so if the auditor continues to refuse to come to a council meeting and is responding by email, I'm gonna ask that all the email communication between the auditor and anybody on this council be posted, because there's no way to get the information other than me coming to the meeting and continuing to read them into the record. I think it is probably even unheard of that somebody's coming to present a report to this council, given the considerable amount that we've paid. And again, they were willing, and I don't know who asked the question. I don't know if I missed the email or whatever, but one question, because of one question, they refused to come, but they've responded to several questions that have been asked since then via email. So, the expectation is that we have a presentation at the September 8th work session regarding the recommendations and findings in the report. But, you know, the amount of money that's been paid to this auditor, do you know what that amount is? Mr. Jones or Mr. Golden?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor, it's close to $150,000.
Close to $150,000?
Yes, ma'am.
So we paid an auditor $150,000 for a 30-page report where quite a bit of it is repeated, and they're refusing to come to the meeting? Okay, and if I'm the only one with a problem with that, I think that's quite interesting. Councilmember Mitchell and Councilmember Conlon.
Thank you. This, to the city attorney, are we not allowed to speak to the auditor after the findings come out?
So what
Or can everybody ask the same question since we can't get this presentation? If we all have questions, are we allowed to ask them, or is that prohibited?
So a couple of things. Oh, good evening, first of all. Good evening. Secondly, the initial engagement letter, as you know, was addressed to my predecessor, and it indicated therein that to maintain attorney-client privilege, to maintain confidentiality while the process was going on, that the communications would be with the city attorney's office and the auditor. And so that's one. Secondly, since the report has come out, my recommendation is that for the council to speak, the council speaks by majority, right? As opposed to any individual being able to speak or bind the council. And so, is the engagement over? Probably not, because we're still having questions, we're still having concerns about the findings. And so it would just be my recommendation, not necessarily this is law, but a recommendation that for there to be consistency in the communication, that you guys decide who you want to continue to be the spokesperson, whether it's myself, whether it's the city manager, the mayor, whomever, whether it's finance, but that those communications tasking one of us be done by the full council.
Okay, so if we have particular questions regarding the findings, we have to get a consensus of the council before we can ask those questions? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not necessarily that you guys have to agree on the questions, but there should be a streamlined process on how you send those questions and how you get those answers.
Okay. Like it's been stated, it's just frustrating. I thought we paid $150,000 for the last piece of work we commissioned to them, but I just don't see, and it's really hard for me to get my mind around us paying all this money, and we waiting all of these years for these results, and us not releasing this information to the public. If we got questions, everybody might have a question about this, that, and the third, but if there's no way to answer that in a timely manner, I don't say we should just scrap the whole project because of that. Maybe we can come to a consensus on what may or may not need to be redacted or whatnot, but I think the public has been waiting long enough for this. So just because one person might have a question about something, another person might have a question, that I don't think that's a situation where we should just hold up the whole audit. So I know it's a discussion now, but I yield. I go ahead, yield.
One thing that happened before you arrived, City Attorney Wiggins, during public comments, a speaker mentioned Ethics Ordinance 2-4010. So if you can look at that, I'm not sure if it's going to come up in discussion, but the report is available through open records now. Like it's available to the public. The issue is whether or not we're going to put it online. And given the number of pages, there's probably not even a cost to the public for producing it, or the amount of time that it would take to produce it.
So the first 15 minutes are not charged for open records. I would imagine it wouldn't take that long for the clerk's office, whoever processes open records there, to send, the link or the attachment. So it likely is a free document, even through open records.
Oh, excuse me.
Counsel.
Madam Mayor, just for clarification purposes, with the document being 32 pages, so it's, anything over 10 pages is 10 cents a page. So we've been charging $3.20, and the account numbers are redacted in the versions that have been released.
The account numbers for the multifamily residential units, those two numbers.
There are account numbers towards the end of the document that are listed. Yeah, those are redacted.
Yes, two for
off of it.
multifamily
Yes.
residential. I think Cummings and Ziegler, order you all are in now. I'm sorry I didn't write it down when it first came up.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. So I know the fee was $150,000. Have we paid them the whole $150,000? Or do we still owe them? Is there a balance that we owe them?
We paid the amount for the.
So everything has been paid?
Correct.
All right, so that takes care of that. The next suggestion I would have, whoever it is that we decide to be the contact person, the point of contact, the liaison or whatever, I think any questions, everything, just so that we can be consistent and not have conversations with everybody, we formulate those questions and pass them to whoever that one person is, and they get all of those answers that we need. And then the next question is for the city attorney. In the agreement or the contract, because I think historically, if you, I think when Tab and Tab, they came and they did a presentation, is there something that's in the contract that states that they should, that they were required to come and do a presentation?
So I reviewed so it was an engagement letter, and I reviewed that from 2023, and the only thing in there that even touched them doing anything verbal was a statement that says they would give periodic verbal updates of their progress. But there is nothing in there that requires them to do a final presentation. In fact, when I relayed to them y'all's desire to have the draft report presented, that was a back and forth. Do I have to, can I just send the draft? And I'm like, no, the request of council is that you present the draft report. So hopefully that answers your question. There was nothing that required
Nothing that legally
a presentation.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we're kind of at a crossroads because, I mean, I know residents, I mean, they want some sort of presentation. They want, if it's not, the report is not available, either online or something, but I mean, the residents, I mean, we owe them that much, I mean, because they come up and they ask questions all the time. So the question now is, I mean, what other recourse do we have? What's the process now? I mean, since there's no formal presentation.
So I think where we left last week is that the city manager, because they weren't ready on the recommendations and findings portion, right? That's where we need to take actions, that we would get that presentation on September 8th. The reason why, and the auditor readily accepted the invitation to come present. And the goal of that is that, so we're not having to send a lot of multiple questions, and somebody might ask a question that somebody already had, and we can get it answered in a public forum, right? But whether it's required in the contract or not, if we pay somebody $150,000 and we ask them to come to a meeting, and one question is preventing that, like that's almost nonsensical. And so the September 8th presentation from staff will do recommendations and findings. They can't talk about what the auditor did to come to those findings because that is the audit, that an auditor would answer those questions, right? So that's why we've limited the presentation on the 8th to what staff can respond to, but paying somebody $150,000 and them refusing to come stand before this council and our community to answer any questions that council may have. If that question is the challenge or the issue that prevents them from coming, they can answer it in the email like they've done back and forth all week, right? Last week about the questions that were sent. So it's hard to understand because this hasn't happened. Previous auditors have made those presentations. There was a forensic audit done, I think the last one was done in 2013. I haven't looked to see how those findings were actually presented, but I don't think this request is unreasonable. And again, based upon the almost immediate response of, yes, we'll be there. Can we be first on the agenda? Yes, you'll be the first presentation, and all those accommodations and being willing to come, and one question preventing them from coming that they can answer in an email and still come and present to council. That's the plan right now, Councilmember Cummings. So there will be a presentation to the public around the recommendations and findings from the staff perspective of this is what's recommended and these were the findings and this is what we're doing. There are some findings in the report that say nothing further is needed, right? But I think we should still go through each one and share that in a public meeting at a council meeting and allow council to ask any questions they might have about those next steps. But if there's questions about how it was done, how they reached those findings, those can only be answered by the auditor who at this time is refusing to be here. Councilmember Ziegler.
Yes, thank you. So I believe in regarding to the cost, the $150,000 was for the entire audit that the Plant Moran company did, and that this additional forensic audit was additional at no cost to us because the original agreement, they had not expended the total amount of money that we had agreed to pay them. That's what I remember. I could be wrong in that, but that's what is also indicated in their email. So that's where the $150,000 comes from, and that's where you see the redundancy with the deleted vendors and, staff making payments over $25K without coming to council, because that was part of the original audit, and this was the extended piece that they did for free, because we did not have enough work for them, essentially. So that's where the $150,000 comes from my understanding.
Councilmember Shropshire.
Thank you. What extended piece? I don't remember any
I mean, I
extended
think
piece.
in the emails, she indicated the additional scope that we should be grateful for. And in the report, it says which items they expanded to include. Do I
But that
have
was
my
not
report?
part of the scope of work. So they worked out of their scope of work. But here's my question. Because based on what the attorney said, there needs to continue to be one level of one person who have conversations with the auditor. And if it's in the scope of work originally, that was the city attorney, then it should remain that way, or the city manager. It should remain that way, because somehow somebody up here gave some instruction to go out of their scope of work. So to keep that appearance, to keep that of what it should not be, because nobody up here should be having any conversation with the auditors. No one. I haven't had it. I'm sure my colleagues haven't had it, but there's one person who have had constant contact with the auditors. And the only person who should be having contact with the auditors is the city attorney. That's what is in the scope of work. And that is the way it should be. Now, the question is whether or not the information, because they can get the information right now if they do an open records. As a matter of fact, the information has already been shared with the public by that same council person. So nobody is stopping anyone from putting it on the website. It can go up there. It's just that there are information in there that's not correct, that need to be correct. And in order to do that, they were saying wait until you have the presentation, so you will have the recommendations on how you're going to correct the information that's incorrect. But if it's the will of council, then if that's what they want to do is to put it on the website, then that's fine. But at the end of the day, there needs to be one person who council can send all their questions to, who they can send it to the auditors to get the question answered. And I'll yield.
So one quick thing on correcting the report, I don't believe staff can or has the authority to correct any information in the report by the auditor. Again, that's why the auditor presence and presentation is needed. No, I'm just tracking. I want to say this out loud because the auditor in an email has offered a supplemental report. Supplemental report mean more money, right? Or if, she was very cavalier about, we should be happy because the expanded scope was done with no additional cost. Is she doing a supplemental report and no additional cost? The expanded areas of concern listed in the report on page 2, data testing, credit cards, conflict of interest policy, positive pay, outstanding utility bills, ongoing wire during same time frame as phishing scheme. Those were the things that they expanded their scope on. And so, she mentioned a willingness, but she also mentioned a supplemental report or supplemental efforts or whatever. So are they saying that's more money? Because their report is their report. The information within it can only be corrected by them. Again, all we have right now is an email chain, and if we can't, resolve this in a way that gets information there, then we're gonna have to disclose the emails. Like, that's the only way we're getting feedback on issues or questions that were raised about what was in the report, they may be concerns about or may need to be corrected because the auditor refuses to come to present to this council and is offering to do supplemental report. Does that mean supplemental work and supplemental fee? Councilmember Mitchell and Councilmember Cummings, and Madam City Attorney, have you had a chance to look at 2-4010? Okay.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. So can a motion be made to make this free from any cost from open records? Could that be a motion made also? So we don't have to pay, so say if somebody did want to put in an open records request for this, can a motion be made that this particular document is free to the public?
I think you said clerk, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
You looked at me, so I think you're talking to me. I would not recommend that you start making motions that are in contradiction of state law.
Okay. So to get around that, so a motion can be made to just, yes, we can just vote up or down, put this on the website, just make it public all the way around.
That would be, yes, left up to council if that is the will of the board.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion that we put this forensic audit on the city's website.
Do you want to include when in your motion?
Today or end of the week or what's tomorrow? The 19th? August the 19th, for August the 19th.
There's a motion to put the forensic audit report on the website by August 19th. Is there a second? Been moved and properly seconded. Discussion. Member Cummings?
Yes, question to City Manager and City Attorney. Have we reached out to a supervisor or Mr. Plant or Miss Plant Moran, or just to kind of, just to see if?
Well, no, I was just going to say the city manager's office has not.
Okay, because if historically, when we have these audits, they do come out and present. I was just wondering if there's a, you don't act right and you go to, somebody that's above you to ask. But no one has reached out or.
I haven't, and just by looking at Michelle McHale's signature, it says she's the partner. I don't know, that likely tells me she is the head. She may have other partners.
Okay.
But that's what her signature line says, but I have not reached out to anyone that potentially is above her. I can go online to see if, on their website.
I just didn't know if we had exhausted all efforts to try and, just to bring her down. And one more question. I know Councilmember Shropshire said that she didn't have an issue with the audit being posted, but there were some things that needed to be cleaned up or changed on there. What are those?
Like one for the business that is in there. That, and there are other things, but what I want to do is, if we're going to make this motion, at least make the motion as well to have either the city attorney be the point of contact when having a conversation with the auditors.
Yeah, I think that's currently in the engagement document and scope. Now, that was before this council, because we engaged them in October 2023. So some people were not here then, and so if we want to make clear that is still the same intention of council, then that could be done by a friendly amendment or a substitute motion, but.
So even to that instance, can we include the city manager's office and the legal department?
Yeah, so generally with forensic audits, as was indicated in the agreement, the, what do you call it? The scope of work in the initial fee engagement letter, the city attorney is usually the point of contact for forensic audits because of the information that may be needed, or, not to put staff or operations in any type of position. And so that request of the city attorney actually came from Plant Moran. that actually comes from the forensic auditor. They selected the staff person that they wanted to engage with.
Right. Was that, I guess, partly the reason I think maybe the city manager at the time was in question with, you know, under possible investigation? I wondered, does that still hold true since we have new staff?
I mean, yeah, but I know other cities where they make the same request, so, you know.
I mean, I'm open. I mean, I think we all should, you know, we all have our questions, and, you know, if we can come to some type of agreement how we ask those questions, because you know, throwing out one question a month, we're never going to have this. It's never going to reach the public at this rate. I mean, I still have my motion on the floor. I think somebody would like to add to have it go through.
Let's keep going.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah. Have you thought yet? You haven't thought yet. I'm gonna go to Councilman Martin Rogers, and I come back to you, Councilman Cummings.
And I'll say again that no one has an issue with the report being out there, but to Councilmember Cummings' point, you have the Men of Intelligence Association that's a part of this audit. You also have the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People that are, they got it out there. That's a part of this report, and also a radio host with WAOK. So we need to ensure that if this is put out there, what is going to be the backlash, and is there going to be a recourse of action for the individuals mentioned? Or we're just going to put it out there and then perhaps have an addendum later? Like, what is the course of action? That's what I would like to know.
City Attorney, do you have a response to that now? And, I mean, we've engaged in quite a bit of discussion, and I mean, we all heard what was stated during public comments this evening, and so I think that question or issue that was raised should be addressed, the 2-4010. If we go through this whole discussion tonight, I'm surprised I'm the only one that's brought it up, but if you could potentially respond to what Councilmember Martin Rogers said, and if you've had an opportunity to look at 2-4010, it was said that requires this council to require a council member who either has a conflict of interest or potential conflict of interest to leave the meeting. So if you've been able to look at that, you can respond to Councilman Martin Rogers and that as well, or if you still need more time on 2-4010, I can go to the other council members. Oh, y'all just went out. Y'all not anymore?
So the city was not the author of the audit, right? And I totally understand the sentiments about different individuals and organizations that were mentioned and not mentioned in a good light. Whether or not putting it on the website minimizes the issues that those individuals or organizations have, I'm not sure. I mean, that's for them to, they hold that. But I would say that in defense of the city, we're not the authors. And unfortunately, based on what everyone has said here tonight, we don't have the opportunity to ask, or we didn't have the opportunity to ask the questions of how they reached those conclusions, maybe to have some clarity around how they got to those responses. And so I don't necessarily have a red line, you know, a clear response to what happens next if it's put on the website and those individuals or organizations take issue with it. Because it's a public document already, I'm not sure if that increases their issue. I certainly can't speak for those individuals. With respect to section 2-40, sorry, I lost the number.
2-4010, duty to leave meeting.
Yes. Hopefully everyone has been able to see that. I can read it if you haven't. It basically says that to avoid the appearance of impropriety after any public servant or partner in interest is determined to have a conflict of interest or a potential conflict of interest in any matter, and once all questions relating to the conflict of interest have been answered to the satisfaction of the decision maker, the public servant shall immediately leave the meeting room, except that if the matter is being considered at a public meeting, the public servant may remain in the area of the room occupied by the general public. If a public servant who has a conflict of interest in a matter is present as a member of a body to which is to consider the matter, the public servant shall leave his or her regular seat as a member of the body and not return until deliberation and action on the matter is completed. And then it goes on further to say that consent agendas where there's no deliberation does not require members of voting bodies to leave their seats. I think the important portion of this is once all questions related to the conflict of interest have been answered to the satisfaction of the decision maker, and to figure out what that means, you have to go to section 2-4003 definitions to determine who the decision maker is. And after reading that, I believe the decision maker is this body. So you guys would need to have all questions answered as to whether there is indeed a conflict or a potential conflict of interest for whatever public servant or partner in interest that it will apply to, and then this could be invoked.
And so in vote, it says the public servant shall immediately leave the meeting. It doesn't say that this board can require the public servant to leave the meeting.
Correct, but it also says if the public servant is a member of the body which is to consider the matter, then the leaving is to leave the seat. It doesn't specify that it's out of the room. It also says that if the matter is being considered at a public meeting, the public servant may remain in the area of the room. So if you read those all in tandem, you've got a couple of different scenarios, right? If the public servant indeed has the conflict or potential conflict of interest, they should leave the room. But if it's being discussed at a public meeting, then they can stay in the room, just not, I guess, wherever they were seated before. And then it goes on to say that if the public servant is a member of the body, so a member of city council, then the public servant shall leave his or her regular seat. And because we're in a public meeting, leaving the seat doesn't necessarily mean leaving the room. So it's a few different scenarios that we just have to work through once you identify the public servant.
Correct. And my question is, can this council require the public servant to leave the room if the public servant doesn't leave the room?
No, the action is on the actual public servant once it's determined by the body, the decision maker, as it's defined here, that a conflict of interest or the potential conflict of interest exists. So the onus is on the public servant.
If the public servant doesn't leave the room, then what happens?
Well, I don't know. Let me see if I can get
I have a
some
question.
guidance on that.
I'll come to you.
Go ahead.
Oh, yes, because I need to read some other sections.
So
please.
even I'm just basing a lot of this is basically recusal. Because I'm just, in the room, out the room is basically saying you have to recuse yourself. Is that what we're saying? Are we basically saying this person has to recuse themselves? I know there's semantics around in the room, out the room. I'm trying to see if that's okay.
All right, there is a motion on the floor while the city attorney's looking to.
I think I'm ready, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
I just went to where there are potential violations of this, and it basically says that if there's an alleged violation of this chapter, so you asked the question of, can the city council make someone leave, a public servant leave? Based on what we read earlier in the duty to leave the meeting, the duty is on the actual public servant who is deemed to have the conflict or potential conflict. And so again, reading these ordinances in tandem, if the vote of the decision maker is that there is a conflict or potential conflict of interest, and the public servant who is the subject of that conflict does not exercise that duty, then the only thing that I see is the next step would be an alleged violation, which would be an ethics complaint.
All right, so there is a motion on the floor to publish the forensic audit by August 19th on the city website. Was there something else in the motion? That's okay. Read it back, that's it?
That was the motion, yes, correct.
On that, Councilmember Shropshire.
So my question goes back to, do we have to make a motion for all questions to be directed to the city attorney? Because that was the scope of the engagement letter or the scope of work.
I think that's a decision by council, so the current engagement letter requires that 1, 2,
But that
3,
hasn't been followed.
4, 5 people that are on this council today were not on council, right, in 23. So the scope, though, is still the same. If council wants to change that, that would have to be by motion. If it's the desire to allow it to stay the same through the city attorney, there's technically no additional action that has to be taken, but if council wants to take action, it can.
Okay, so that was my question. So it remains the same to go through the city attorney.
If no additional action is taken based upon what currently exists, it's
It'll
the
be
city attorney.
Okay, thank you.
If there's a desire to change that or reaffirm that, the reaffirmation isn't necessary, it currently exists, but if that's the desire, council could do that. If council wants to change it, it would need a motion to do that. Councilmember Ziegler.
Yes, so my position on who should be the point of contact in this. So things have changed. We're not getting a presentation by the auditor anymore. And now it's the city manager's responsibility to do that presentation in lieu of them. And it sounds like Plant Moran is open to having the city manager contact them, since that's what it says in their email. And I would not want to impose any kind of obstacles on the city manager for all of us to have a successful meeting on September 8th. I just feel like that we need to have an open communication line between the city manager and the auditor, because the circumstances have changed. And it would not be efficient for the city manager to have to go to the city attorney and then to the auditor. I feel like that to just streamline everything, that the city manager should be able to also have a communication line with the auditor.
So you said also, you're saying with the city, you can be the city attorney. You said also have communications, or are you saying city attorney and city manager, or it's just city manager?
My position is that the city manager would be able to contact the auditor without having to go through the city attorney.
Correct, but do you want the city attorney and the city manager to be able to contact the auditor, or just the city manager?
Oh, I would be fine with both.
With both?
Yeah.
Councilmember Martin Rogers.
Yes, and I don't want to place our city manager in, I had questions last week, and for the majority of my questions, Mr. Jones could not answer them, and it wasn't due to you not know, well, you didn't know how to answer them. And that was one of my issues last week when I got questions from my constituents. I was like, let me go ahead and email Mr. Jones, and you gave very good answers, but The scope of work states the city attorney. So I would like for us to make a decision tonight so that we can all get our questions answered. But there was a scope of work that should have been followed. Clearly, it was not. And then what position does this place Mr. Jones in? Because I asked several questions last week, and you were like, well, the city manager's office wasn't a part of the process. Unfortunately, I know that these aren't the answers you want to hear, but this is what I have. So I think that if we're going to have both offices participate, we should just make a decision so that we can move on. But we also have to provide Mr. Jones some grace because he didn't really have the answers that I was looking for, and it was due to no fault of his own. But Plant Moran should be able to answer all of our questions that everyone has at one time. That's it.
Councilmember Atkins and Councilmember Mitchell.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I am also in favor of both having the ability to reach out to the auditor so as not to hamstring our city manager when he is seeking questions, and then also understanding that we have both highly capable professionals and not having to always go to the city attorney to get things answered. I think they can both reach out, and if emailed, they can copy and they can provide us with the answers that we seek. So with that, if it is appropriate, I'll make a friendly amendment to the motion to post the audit by end of day, the 19th of August, and then add, in terms of point of contact to the auditor, that it is relegated to the city attorney and the city manager, if that friendly amendment would be accepted.
Councilmember Mitchell, do you accept the friendly amendment?
I do.
Thank Councilmember Freely. You made the second. Does the second still stand? Okay. I have one other question. Mr. Golden, the $150,000 that you quoted, was that for forensic audit alone?
It was up to 150,000. I think the work that they did come under that 150,000, and that difference was used for the governmental accounting services that Plant Moran does.
So do you know the difference? Like how much was for forensic audit and how much was for governmental accounting services?
Not at this time. I'll have to bring that back.
Was the amount for the forensic audit over 6 figures?
Yes.
Okay, so we paid over $100,000 to an auditor, and I still haven't heard anyone share the concern that the auditor is refusing to come to a meeting to present to this council, although they readily accepted on August the 5th, because we were preparing for the 11th. I think it was the day after. We had a meeting on, what were the dates of the meeting? Today's the 18th, so it was the 11th, and then 7 days from that was the 4th. So on the 5th, they readily agreed, recanted that, and refused on the 8th, and are still refusing, but we paid them over $100,000. And the one thing that they're saying they don't want to come is because there was a question asked, and while they're answering all of these other questions that have gone through the email, and which will now go through the city manager and the city attorney, they still refuse to answer that question and are refusing to come. And we're okay with paying over $100,000 to a professional who completed the audit, who staff won't be able to answer those questions. But we're going to go back and forth in emails. And if that is the case, then I'm going to be asking that all of these email chains be made available as well, because that's the only way we can get information to the public. And that's unfortunate, and it's extremely disappointing. But, you know, maybe they'll have a change of heart. Councilmember Atkins.
Yes, Madam Mayor, when we discussed this in the work session, I did have that same sentiment. I expressed that, and I did state that while I was not a part of the conversation, I don't know if the conversation was contentious, but it seemed from the email that we received from Plant Moran that the decision was made based on a question asked. I said that I found that to be disturbing and disappointing. Tonight, that sentiment remains the same. That is very disturbing and disappointing to me. I would think that a reputable firm like Plant Moran would want to come and to defend the work that they have done on behalf of this city. anything that we are to say about their findings would be pure speculation because we did not perform the audit. So I remain disappointed and do find it disturbing that they refuse to come to present their findings.
Thank you, Councilmember Atkins. You are absolutely correct. You did mention that at the work session, so my apologies on that. We have a motion on the floor to post the audit report, forensic audit report, on the website by close of business on February 19th. I'm going to say that's a part of your friendly amendment too, because you talked about that. Now, he just said on the 19th. But by close of business on February 19th. And why I'm in February? That's my birthday month. That's a long time away. August the 19th. Thank you. And that the points of contact moving forward will be the city attorney and the city manager. Mr. Johnson?
Yes, I would just ask for clarification because I understand there's two versions. One, the version what the city clerk has been putting out with some redactions, and the version that Plant Moran originally come out. So if you could clarify which version should be on the website.
Before we make any documents public, we need to make the proper redactions. I think we're required to do that part. So, Councilmember Mitchell, I think that was your intent.
So even when it comes down to redaction, who, I guess, determines what's redacted or not?
Is that to me?
That's the interpretation of, I guess, the city attorney?
So I will tell you what occurred and what usually occurs.
Okay.
Open records are done by the city clerk's office. The legal department is copied on them, and if it is something that maybe involves so we're copied on all of them, and they just come in an email. And I review them periodically, especially if it's a name in litigation that pops up that, oh, okay, a litigant is asking for open records. I want to know what it is. So the city attorney does not process open records. That's A.
Okay.
B, in this instance, the city attorney was asked what should be redacted. And my response was, do what you always do and redact what is legally required to be redacted, okay? And so that was my response. I didn't identify exact language or lines or words or numbers. I just encouraged the city clerk's office to use the laws that they're familiar with, because they process open records every day, and redact what needs to be redacted. So let me go a little further. It's my understanding that there was some conversation about utility account numbers that needed to be redacted. The law provides that individual utility account numbers are not to be disclosed. I was told, and it was my understanding, that those account numbers did not belong to individuals, rather they belong to multifamily residential homes. If that is not the case, then the Open Records Act would stand that if they are indeed individual account numbers, then they would need to be redacted. But if they're for multifamily residential accounts, which would not be held by an individual, and I don't need to get into a master meter and all of that, but then that rule likely doesn't apply. But for the purposes of the motion that's on the floor, I think that's why I had my thing in, because I think Mr. Jones is correct that you guys need to be clear that the version that goes up is the proper version if redactions are necessary. And I would need to, or the clerk's office would need to find out, is this a residential account for an individual, or is this a multifamily account for a corporation? Like, what is it to ensure that the proper redaction rules are imposed?
So from what you just explained, with these being corporate accounts, so there, I know you gave up 2 instances of 2 account numbers being given out. So you're saying that's not the case, so nothing should be redacted from this report?
I'm saying once the question is answered as to whether or not these are individual accounts or commercial accounts, then we know what proper redaction rules apply.
So for this particular motion, I think that's a great point. I was referring to, I mean, we can't vote on unredacted copy that no one has seen before. I guess that makes sense.
One more time.
I said I think it would be harder to vote on an unredacted copy that no one's seen, or we can't we don't have a full understanding of what's being redacted.
But there could be a friendly amendment to say with the necessary legal redactions. So we know what's in the report. With the necessary redactions required by law could be added, because then they can make those determinations.
I mean, I was referring to the unredacted copy because I already know where this is going, so. And then it's going to be a lot of clarification on what is.
I think where you think it's going,
Yeah.
it's not even that, it's not possible that it's that account number.
It's all good.
What's in the report by the auditor is that these two account numbers belong to residential multifamily complexes, and then they put the account numbers. It's right here. It says, the highest residential account balances are $55,007.16 and $31,480.98 for account numbers respectively, which are accounts held by non-council members or non-employees of the city. So
if that's what's in question, so, yeah, so my question is, what would need to be redacted? And would that need any type of?
I think the question needs to be answered first, whether those are individuals or commercial, before your question can be answered, sir.
Okay, so I know we're making the motion for this to go out tomorrow. Do y'all need an extra day or two? Or have y'all already, I guess, Madam
Do you know? I don't know the answer.
City
Oh,
Clerk?
okay.
That's
It
just a
sounds like
matter of
Mr.
me calling
Jones
customer
knows.
care and asking them what the account numbers are in the morning. That's just a matter of me asking them, is this for a residential property or a multifamily property?
An
in the morning?
individual
Oh,
or
excuse me,
a
individual or
corporate
what?
or
Okay.
commercial.
Thank you.
you said the city manager, Mr. Jones, may have the answer.
They are individual accounts.
They're individuals.
All three, the two account numbers in there are residential individual accounts. They are not multifamily.
With that information, the answer to your question then, sir, is that the account numbers would need to come out. And that's just state law.
Okay, so we just specifically talk about these account numbers right now.
That's the only information that's subject to redaction.
Okay, I mean, that's basically what I was getting around to, so thank you, I know. Okay, so with that being said, I guess we can clarify the redacted version, or if needs to be redacted, or I forget what the answer.
You could amend the motion to post the forensic audit on the city's website by close of business on August 19th with the necessary legal redactions, after the necessary legal redactions have been made, and that the city attorney and city manager are the points of contacts for the forensic audit.
Did y'all get that? So, can we move that? So move?
Yeah, I think the maker can amend the motion since it's still on the floor and I haven't called the question, right, Attorney Wiggins?
Repeat that.
There was a friendly amendment, so I restated the full motion, and then the maker can amend the motion because I haven't called for the question. Or should it come through another friendly amendment?
So you probably should vote on the amendments each before voting on the whole motion. You see what I mean? So you had one friendly amendment, okay, that's fine. Now there's another amendment to add to the current status of the motion. You probably should take that in steps. So vote to add now this new information to the motion on the floor. If that gets added, then you vote on the entire motion with the additions.
We didn't vote on the first friendly amendment.
I understand
So do
that.
we
My recommendation would have been to do so, but friendly amendments is something that you
Oh, we
guys
kinda did,
commonly
'cause I
do,
asked if it-
which is fine, but now you've got a second friendly amendment, and it just makes it a little harder to
So
follow.
a substitute motion, can somebody, would it be a substitute? So I'll call for the question on the first motion and then do another motion, because I can't do an amendment, I have a motion on the floor.
So you have a motion on the floor that includes posting the forensic audit report on August 19th and allowing the city manager and the city attorney's office to be the point of contact. That's your current motion on the floor.
Correct.
That's the motion with the friendly amendment. Now so I would think you need to pause on that. Don't call the question on that. Take up the amendment to that, which is the redacted conversation. Get a vote to add that to the motion, and then vote on the entire thing.
Okay, who's gonna make the motion on the amendment of the report being posted after the legally necessary redactions have been made?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. So now the complete motion is post the forensic audit by the close of business on August 19th after the legally necessary redactions have been made, and the points of contact for the forensic audit moving forward will be the city attorney and the city manager.
That's perfect.
So moved, Councilmember Mark Rogers.
Second the motion.
Seconded, Councilmember Butler. Any discussion on that motion?
Real quick. Is that by the 19th?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, that was in the motion.
Councilmember Atkins. Councilmember Butler.
I'm out.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the council discussion and possible action on the award and acceptance of the Fulton County Arts and Cultural Grant in the amount of $10,005. Oh, I'm sorry. God, what is wrong with my glasses? It's item number, council discussion and approval of USIS Inc. contract extension number 2 for workers' comp claim services. Motion, open the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? I need more ayes. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is open, Mr.
Yes, it appears that we have Derman that's going to walk us through this item. Iris is on vacation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Last time we were before you, we were bringing this just for the option to renew. And the direction from you all was to make sure that the city attorney has looked at it and approved. She has done so, so I'm back before you to see if we can get renew this so we can utilize the last year for this service.
Any questions or motion? Councilmember Shropshire? You gotta turn on your mic.
I make a motion that we approve USIS contract extension for workman's comp claim service.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam City Clerk, please make sure the record reflects the voters. Yep. Next up, need a motion to open the floor for discussion and possible action on, let me ask a question. Mr. Derman, are item number 26 and 28 the same? They're separated on the agenda. One has more information, but these are the same items.
Unfortunately, they are, Madam Mayor.
Can I get a motion on item number 28 too, please?
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 27, or what's listed as 27 tonight, council discussion of possible action of the award acceptance of the Fulton County Arts and Cultural Grant in the amount of $10,500. Can I get a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Jones, the floor is open.
Wait, quick question. So what do we do with number 28? Oh, okay.
Yes, thank you. we'll have Mr. Pickett, Parks, walk us through this item.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm happy to be before you with some good news. As you know, Public Arts is a division in Parks and Recreation. Mr. Swain, who's behind me, has done an amazing job being very diversified in a lot of his programs and events that he offers to our lovely city in East Point. I'm going to have him explain to you the grant that he was awarded.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Christopher Swain, Public Arts Coordinator for the City of East Point. What you have before you is from the Fulton County Arts and Culture Commission. Annually, they offer contract for services to the 15 cities served by Fulton County. We have applied for this grant every year since I've been here, and so here we are once again. Unfortunately, we had a little hiccup this year because Fulton County decided they were going to focus on fixing up the Rice Street Jail this year. So for the past few years, they've always allotted like $3 million for the arts across these 15 cities. This year, because of the work they want to do on the jail, they cut back in the arts a bit, so they reduced it from $3 million to $1.3. So even with that, our application was still strong enough for us to receive an award to support our event here in the City of East Point. So the ask tonight is for you to sign this contract so we can submit it back to Fulton County and receive our award of $10,500.
Councilmember Butler.
Madam Mayor, I make the motion that we accept the award for Fulton County.
Second. To accept the award, can you say the amount and for what it's for, Councilmember?
$10,000, Madam Mayor.
$10,500.
I'm sorry.
Item number 27.
$10,500.
Councilmember Meyer Rogers, you seconded. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Councilmember Atkins.
Mr. Swain, thank you for this information, and thank you also, Mr. Director Pinkett, for your leadership of this division. So with this, these dollars, they're lower, they're less than we would normally get from Fulton County, correct?
Correct. Everybody's across Fulton County, their dollars were lower this year. As a matter of fact, most of us feared we wouldn't get anything because of that, because there is a pecking order to who gets awards in Fulton County, and we know the people at the top get quite a bit, but I'm just grateful that we got something, yes.
Can you just speak to, because historically, we've also received dollars from the National Endowment for the Arts also, is that correct?
Yes.
And do we know with what's happening with the current administration, if those funds have been cut, or are we still in the running for those dollars?
They have been cut, but we're still advocating for that. As a matter of fact, even for Fulton County this year, when they reduced the amount, arts leaders from across the metro converged on that commission meeting, and we begged them not to cut it, but they had to, because like, as I stated earlier, they're trying to repair the jail, so.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. We are now at item reflected on the agenda is 29. Council discussion and possible action on the City of East Point Board/Commission on Aging. Councilman Martin Rogers.
Yes, I just wanted to know if everyone had the opportunity to.
So you got to open the floor for discussion.
Yes, I want to open the floor for discussion and possible action on the East Point Commission on Aging, Board/Commission on Aging.
Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is now open.
All right, thank you. There was one additional change that needed to be made that was sent out by Madam City Attorney on Monday? Last Thursday, and that change was simply to allow mayor and council to make appointments to the board every January annually.
Yes, so.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. Yes.
So yes, having talked with the proponent of this, Dr. Martin Rogers wanted to have it where this ordinance would be effective immediately, but appointments wouldn't start until January 2026. And so the appointed members of the Commission on Aging would start serving for an annual term, a one-year term, beginning January 2026. And those changes are reflected in the ordinance that you guys received on Thursday night.
Any discussion?
Sure.
Thank you. So that's consistent with our other boards, right?
Most boards are term of the person who
Oh,
appoints
4
them.
years.
For the term of the person who appoints them, we have,
So
one
what
of the
board
other
is it
boards by
here?
statute is like 4 years required. I think that's like BIDA or something. The Blighted Property Task Force, I think, is an annual appointment. But the others,
Of
terms
4
of,
years. Okay.
Also add that it provides that the member can be reappointed. So with Dr. Martin Rogers' request for it to be a one-year term, if you do desire to reappoint, that person can be reappointed for the duration of your term.
Thank you, Dr. Martin Rogers. I think this is a great idea, but I haven't had a chance to really review it yet. And I would like to be able to take that chance to get to review what you want us to do.
hold on, Councilmember Freeman.
I had a separate question. I don't know if Councilmember Martin Rogers wanted to respond.
Member Butler's was a statement of he hasn't had an opportunity to review. So I'll go back to Councilmember Martin Rogers after you speak.
So I know Fulton County has a Commission on Elder Affairs that has been in existence for over 3 decades, I think. How would this commission either augment or are we duplicating efforts here when we have this at the county level with probably sort of greater leverage and networks and so on? Just wondering if that question has been considered.
Yep, Councilmember Martin Rogers.
Thank you. This commission would be specifically for East Point residents. When I was first elected to council, it was brought to my attention that the city is doing everything right. However, oftentimes the senior residents don't feel, well, there was just an issue brought to my attention as far as like seniors having a tab on our website, which is something that was done several months ago, where you have all of those resources available, and it's geared toward those senior residents, the 55 and plus over community. This commission is more or less for East Point residents. Each of us gets to appoint a resident, and this particular board will just focus on East Point residents, leveraging those resources that are available not only in East Point, but also Fulton County. And it will also allow the senior residents to have a voice of their own, that they may have an issue. It was brought to my attention last week that one of our super senior citizens is having trouble bringing her garbage can to and from her driveway because she is advanced in age now. That she is advanced in age now, but there are a couple of issues that plague our senior residents, and I feel that through this commission, they can be leveraged into providing an extra system of support for that 55 and plus over community. That's all I have.
Yeah, I know if people reach out to sanitation that they will honor those requests for seniors. And so I don't know that the commission is needed for that. I mean, it may be a communication issue, but that is something that's already being done. Like, she would just need to call sanitation, and they will do that for seniors. Now, I don't know if that's in the policy, in the ordinance, Madam City Clerk, but that wouldn't be a commission ordinance. That would be in the sanitation ordinance, if there is a desire for that. But then I don't know if we get into age and things like that. City Attorney?
So it's not in this draft ordinance for there to be a call to sanitation. The ordinance was written based on Dr. Martin Rogers' desire to see a committee put together to discuss issues that impact the elderly community. So that level of detail is not in there. Similarly, to Councilman Friedli's request about the duplication of efforts with the Fulton County Commission. That level of detail is not in there. I think it's to have the city to have its own.
Has there been any look at what the county commissioners, the Fulton County Commission on Aging does, such that even to avoid a duplication or just complement the services, that's recommended, like whatever involvement this commission might have with that? And then also the ordinance that's online, I'm not sure if this is the most updated version, because it says members shall serve for a minimum of 2 years with eligibility for reappointment. Initial terms may be staggered, 5 members for 2 years and 4 members for 3 years to maintain continuity. So, oh, it's emailed. Okay, well, need to make sure the most recent version is online, Madam City Clerk. In discussion, Councilmember, they would like to have more time to look at it. Councilmember Freely had questions about the alignment or duplication with Fulton County Commission on Aging. This is an ordinance, and so the action on this becomes law, right? So it's not just a resolution. It actually would become an ordinance in the city if council members feel like they need more time. It'd probably be helpful to mention that at this time, so we don't take action on something that might be something that you all want to do but need more time on. City Attorney Wiggins.
And the only reason it's an ordinance is because your rules require it to be.
Oh, yeah, no, I wasn't suggesting that it shouldn't be. I was saying that to indicate to council that this will be law. It's not a resolution policy statement. It would actually be an amendment to our ordinance. And if people feel like they need more time for that, then maybe that should be stated, or if somebody wants to make a motion to waive the first reading, which requires 6 votes, a supermajority instead of just a majority to waive the first reading, that can be done as well. And then if that passes, adoption of the ordinance. But I don't see anybody in, and we have one more item before we can deal with any executive session items and go home. And so I'm just trying to figure out what council's desire is tonight on this item. Anybody ready to move tonight? I don't see any hands up on that. So Councilmember Martin Rogers, you could make a motion, since it's on the agenda, to place this on an upcoming work session agenda or another item, so council members may be more ready to act.
Did you want to say something?
Nobody else is in.
September meeting?
September 8th work session. If council members aren't ready to act on it tonight, like, that wouldn't give a real opportunity to have discussion before action to actually try to move it forward. It's probably better to put it on the September 8th work session.
September 8th. Session, Councilmember. Thank you.
Go ahead and make a motion so we can move it on the agenda.
I'd like to make
So moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is City Council Retreat Agenda. Councilmember Shropshire.
Thank you.
Motion, open the floor.
I would like to make a motion to open the floor for discussion and possible action.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is open. Councilmember Shropshire.
Okay. In the past, when we have the retreat, there's always an agenda because it is a meeting and you're supposed to have an agenda with that. So I'm open for what council, since it is a council retreat, and what they want on the agenda, because that has always been in the past. We've always had an agenda before we went into a meeting, so you know what was going to be discussed, or what's the topic or the issues.
Councilmember Atkins.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for that agenda item, Councilmember Shropshire. My question would be to City Manager Jones. Is it your expectation that the body will come up with the agenda items, or are you coming up with the agenda items? Because I know that we've had a lot of discussion around priority-based budgeting, and in order for your team to do that, you would have to know what the priorities are based on the consensus of this body. So is that an item that you would plan to have on the agenda for the retreat?
While that would be nice to have, I kind of come to the realization that might be a bit aggressive for this body at this particular time. I have presented a tentative agenda in my manager's reports over the last couple of weeks, and I can certainly highlight the items that I had in there. There was basically 5 items. They certainly can have items like some of those priorities underneath these items, but item 1, reinforce institutional memory and traditional planning, things like knowledge of outgoing, ongoing members. I know there's going to be some changes. There's some projects that are particularly interesting for the city that's going to continue through that transition. We certainly just spent some time talking about the financing strategies for capital improvement projects. You just mentioned priority-based budgeting. Those are those kind of things that priority-based budgeting would almost need to start in the next month or two. That's going to go right through an election. So those are kind of transitional things that need to keep on moving that we can talk through. 2, identify clarity, shared values, governance norms. This is just some of how to engage the city manager's office, how to interpret instructions from council, particularly when they might involve type of research items. So we definitely have individual ideas, and sometimes we get bogged down working on an individual council member only to realize that maybe the whole group haven't had consensus on that. So maybe having some norms where we can kind of build some consensus before engaging the city manager's office to spend in-depth research time and analysis and studying items, those kind of things. Strategic priority review, again, that can be part of the budgeting process, that could be part of an overall strategic review. Discussion on the election year challenges. We're very very involved and informed on what those challenges look like, and celebrate some of the service and foster closure on items, honoring outgoing members of service, but also looking ahead in the future reflection and appreciation on where we want to be moving towards. Again, looking at some of the big picture, big items with our capital improvements and financing and audits and all those kind of issues that we know we have in front of us. So those are just tentative. Those have been out there for weeks. I haven't really gotten a lot of feedback on if they like that or not. I have a final meeting with Heidi Smalls tomorrow to submit an agenda. She has some things too that are in that she's familiar with this body that she wants to also include. So right now it's not in stone. These are things that I just have put out there that I've noticed since I've been here.
Okay, thank you.
City Attorney Wiggins, did you have something?
Yes, I just wanted to be sure that for the special call meeting, the retreat, which is a special call meeting, it's known that anything that you place on the agenda, you do have to have an agenda, that you can't deviate from it when you get there, because special called meeting agendas cannot be amended.
And also, special call meeting agendas have to be published to the public. It is a public meeting. I haven't seen any publishing of that yet, but I guess maybe we're waiting for the agenda to be finalized. I heard mentioned several times outgoing. Qualifying started today and ends on Wednesday. I'm the only person who's who said I'm not running for re-election, so I think you know who outgoing is. I mean, somebody's running for even another position, so they wouldn't necessarily be outgoing if they're successful. So, I mean, I think those comments, again, go back to the fact that we are in August, and we have 3 months, no, September, October, November, December, 4 months and about a half left in this year, and having a retreat talking about outgoing members when there's 5 seats up for a re-election, and you really don't know who those are, again, other than me. Again, suggest maybe this is premature too. It's open to the public and qualifying ends on August the 20th, so all of the candidates will be known at that point, and this is a public meeting right next door in College Park, so I'm not sure if they're attending, or anyone else from the public is attending, given the close proximity to an election, and the new term starting in January of 2026. Not sure what a discussion on election challenges would be. The charter prohibits, either the charter or ordinance prohibits staff from getting involved in elections in any way. So that, I guess as you flesh that out, maybe we'll get an idea of more what you're talking about. But discussing elections at anything at this juncture should be not done at all, or done with a level of extreme caution, because people cannot campaign on the city's dime, or it wouldn't even make sense to be having those type of discussions in the midst of an election. So it sounds like you and Ms. Small are working tomorrow to try to finalize something. You said government norms or communications. There is a communication protocol, an amended communication protocol. So I'm hoping that's probably the starting basis for that discussion, not to say that it can't be amended totally or, worked. Strategic priority review, there's the need to set those, as mentioned, to get to priority-based budgeting. And then for the first one, I just wrote outgoing incoming members. I'm not, transition or something, I'm not sure what that was, but we don't know who those people are yet. So it's on the agenda tonight. I don't know if anybody else has any other items that they would like to be considered for the agenda that can either be shared tonight and or by email. What time are you meeting with Ms. Small tomorrow?
I couldn't say. Tahita pretty much tells me where to go and when to come, so.
You don't have your calendar on your phone?
I don't have my calendar in front of me right now.
You don't have your city phone? Your city phone have a calendar on it? Okay, I can't. Councilmember Shropshire and Councilmember Atkins, are you in again or in from
I'm
earlier?
still in, and I have.
Councilmember Shropshire.
I have a question. In the past, I think council has set the agenda as to what we want to have for discussion. We work with Heidi over the past few years, so she pretty much knows. And the council retreat is about council setting goals and priorities. So I'm just a little confused because it is a council retreat, and I don't remember. Let me remember. I don't think last year, or no, not last year, but when we had the last retreat, I don't recall. Maybe you can help me.
Yeah, the city manager was involved. I think it's a both and. Like,
It's a
I mean,
both
I
and.
think there's,
But I don't
the
think
city
the
manager,
last
the
one-
council, and Heidi worked to set an agenda. I mean.
Yeah, I know the last time we had, once when we had a retreat, staff was involved as well.
Yeah,
But
they actually attended.
Yeah, but these past few retreats, it has only been council.
Yeah, so that's the question, whether or not there's a desire to have department heads there, department heads for certain departments or those things. Again, I think all of this came out is, in order to do a special call meeting, the agenda has to be set as a part of the special call meeting. And so when that happens, that can be shared, and if people have input or things they want considered, I can be a part of it and try to work on finalizing agenda. It doesn't sound like we will be able to finalize it tonight, but as a part of the notice of the special call meeting, that agenda will have to be included. Councilmember Sharp, Jones.
I yield.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, I was just going to suggest, I've certainly seen it in a number of different ways, with staff involved, with staff not involved. I'm open to if there's suggestions on what the council has a preference for. But typically when staff's involved, we're getting into conversations that are more like a strategic planning session or setting priorities. I think that we're at a point that maybe that might be a little further along than where we are. Some of the things that we need to discuss might be more logistical, but I'm open on what council has preference for.
Yeah, and I think the times that we've had staff outside the city manager at previous retreats, it's been direct reports to council. So it was like the city manager, the city attorney, maybe deputy city attorney, the clerk, and the judge was invited. So it was like direct reports to council. It wasn't anyone that really reported to the city manager for the retreat. Now, to your point, future, meetings or discussions like may involve others, but I just wanted to say it wasn't like department heads. It was more direct reports to council. So sounds like if there are suggestions that people have that they want to be considered for the agenda, you need to get it to the city manager. He's talking with Heidi tomorrow. He's not sure what time, doesn't have his calendar, but if you all get that, they can discuss it, create a agenda that will be used to call the special call meeting. And I guess the city clerk will be following up with everyone regarding that. Councilmember Ziegler.
Yes, thank you. And I just wanted to remind everybody that Heidi sent out an email to us asking us to do a survey. And she would like that to be done by tomorrow. You already did your, okay.
All righty. Do we have any executive session items, legal?
I do not have any.
Mr. Jones?
3 personnel.
And I have 1 personnel, so that's 4. Any more from council? Any other items? So we need a motion to recess into executive session for 4, oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Cummings. So that's 5. Anybody else? Need a motion to recess into executive session for 5 personnel matters.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Did you say discussion?
I don't have.
Oh, any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. We're in recess. Can we get a motion to reconvene, please? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve executive session meeting minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Madam City Clerk, make sure you actually have who's in the room right now. Motion to adjourn. So moved. It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries.